meteorologist. Damer.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ring.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
That summary. President Trump has been wanting to do this for a long time. During my tenure at the end of the first administration, I remember frequent discussions about most favored nations. That's pegging U.S. drug prices to the equivalent developed Western country at the lowest price. And we talked about doing it, and President Trump put in place an executive order. I talked about it from the podium, but he delayed the implementation because he wanted to give the private sector, these drug companies, time to come around. And what he's managed to do here, this is not top down. This is not Orwellian socialist government, do this, private companies. This is bottom up. President Trump put on the pressure, and these drug companies came to the table. Why? Very importantly, one of the things that you heard there during this briefing, you heard one of the individuals who spoke say exactly this. This is about this, Dr. Oz, protecting medical advancement for the future and securing prices today. So important. Conservatives want to secure medical advancements for the future. We can't do a socialist Bernie-like policy on these drug companies, but we also want to lower prices. President Trump has managed to use the threat of most favored nations to force a private sector outcome that will not stop a medical innovation. It is extraordinary what he has done. He wanted to do this term one. Unfortunately, we got a 4-year lapse with Joe Biden, but look at him. Not even a year into his presidency, he got it done.
So there you have Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered after yet another very long press conference in the Oval Office announcing essentially this most favored nation status is supposed to lower the cost of everyday drugs that you might be taking to the percentage. Like some of them they listed were 80%. Other ones they said were like 1,000%. Thoughts, Ryan? Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
We said Ryan can't come back till they get this done.
And so they did, and I said, shoot, I got to go to work today.
Yeah. I apologize that you had to come back.
I appreciate that. But I've been reading about this. I think one of the biggest areas in which you can say, well, that definitely will lower prices is that, well, I'll just read the quote from Trump here. We're also announcing that moving forward, all new medications introduced by Pfizer to the American market will be sold at the reduced most favored nation cost. So we'll be paying essentially what other countries are paying who have been paying much lower, much, much lower for many, many years. He
gave the example of one drug at the press conference there, and he was talking about how it was I can't remember what the condition was for, but he said for Americans it cost, I think he said $131 a month. In France and all the European countries, it cost $15 a month.
Mm-hmm.
He said, our numbers are going down, Europe's are going up, or everywhere else is going up. Ours is coming down to 18, and Europe's is going up to 18. So it's going to be the same.
Right.
And they said it's supposed to happen, the turnaround is supposed to be a very, very quick one. I'm very interested to see how quickly people start going, I just got my medication bills, and overall it decreased by 50%. Or the alternative, hey, I thought you lowered the cost of drugs and I'm not seeing anything. After maybe, I would assume a lot of people who are on monthly prescriptions probably get theirs in a 90-day supply.
Yeah, I do.
It's cheaper that way, generally speaking. It's less you have to think of, less work, so why wouldn't you? So I'll be curious to see if this is going to take, at minimum, a 90-day cycle for everybody to really understand the gravity of the situation. But when we repeatedly talk about inflation and the cost of everyday goods going up, it always comes back to we always talk about the grocery store and the gas pump. Really, medications have to be included in that everyday conversation, that monthly expense that you have. You can't live without groceries. You really can't live without gas in your car. And you can't live without the medications that you need to take if you need to take medications. I was thinking about what Kayleigh McEnany was talking about there specifically, because this could, on the outside looking in, look like the strong hand of government. Like I can see a few people who I know who love the opportunity to make the argument for really, really good and strong big government. Talk about, well, look what Donald Trump was able to do with the power of the government in order to bring the cost of drugs down. And Kayleigh McEnany highlights this here, but it was also highlighted in the press conference, that this is not the heavy hand of the government coming into the pharmaceutical industry and forcing upon them some sort of cost control. There was a deal that was made that incentivized the pharmaceutical companies to come to the table to make a deal that was good for the American people. And Kayleigh McEnany, who was there for the genesis of this conversation in the first term, to hear about the most favored nations status and so on and so forth, she's pretty emphatic. But like, I found it curious that in all of the good news that could stem from Donald Trump following through on a commitment to lower the cost of drugs, I heard them talk about cancer medications. I heard them talk about rheumatoid arthritis, which runs in my family. I've heard them talk about migraines, which I get, and I've been on migraine medication before, but I just didn't like. I didn't like the thought of doing it. I felt like I just didn't like the thought of taking meds with that frequency for something that I didn't feel like I suffered frequently enough. But when I was doing it, I was having to figure out how I was going to afford it. It was very expensive at the time. How many people are not medicating themselves for things that they could vastly improve their quality of life, maybe even be able to participate in life a little bit more, because they just haven't, they're like, I can't afford it. I'm not even going to ask. I can't afford it. I think it's an enormous announcement coming out of this government. And for Kayleigh McEnany's point, her highlight, her opportunity to speak for like 45 seconds there on Outnumbered with the small amount of time they had left after the press conference was over, to highlight the fact that this is a small government move and not a heavy-fisted big government move. I just am going to be interested to find out, unless it fails, unless it doesn't actually materialize to work, and time will tell, how's the left going to be mad at this?
Yeah, this is, first of all, it cuts across political divisions, because this is something that does affect everybody, but it is also an issue that people from both sides of the aisle care about. So it's not just this is a right issue and he's doing it because, hey, this is my party. This is something that the left also very much cares about, and I'm talking about voters. But I was looking at the stat here. The U.S. uses about 13% of the world's prescription drugs, but we fund over 70% of global pharmaceutical profits. Now, if you hear that, if you hear that we use 13% of the world's drugs but fund 70% of the pharmaceutical profits, you know something needs to be done. Like you said, Annie, is this the thing? Well, it remains to be seen. It's just one company. It's Pfizer. He's working with the other one still right now, but it's progress.
But isn't the first deal the most important one?
And it could be a big deal. We just have to see how it plays out.
They talked about the historical nature of this deal, because one like it hasn't happened yet, and being able to get the first one going is going to make everyone else. This is capitalism. Being able to get the first one going and get the first one moving makes the next company have to come along and say, well, we need to match that, or maybe we need to do a little bit better than that. They talk about manufacturing all of these different products in the United States. If you're already manufacturing in the United States, to continue to invest in all of that. It's just, this is an America First way of moving through something like to what you were saying there, Ryan, that really it is not a partisan issue. It isn't. Wouldn't health care be the most mutually beneficial on both sides of the aisle. Like there's no discrimination between the people who are suffering from cancer, the people who are suffering from type 1 diabetes, the people who are suffering from some sort of ailment that is chronic that they've been dealing with forever, and they don't really have, they can choose to live in chronic pain, or maybe for something like a type 1 diabetes, you don't get a choice for that. You have to pay whatever the cost is. For a Democrat in RFK Jr., who came and he told a little bit of a story about how his son, who he said, I think he said something to the effect of like, my son's like the most liberal person I know, or whatever, is a longtime Democrat, that the cabinet has been under really heavy secrecy about all this, because you don't want to have a deal be halfway done, talk to somebody about it and say, oh, we're going to get this done and it's going to be amazing. And then they, over a drink with a friend, share that. And then all of a sudden the leak is out and then the deal doesn't get done. And now there's a failure when you were 80% of the way to success and still working on a negotiation. But the report now is that it's an actual failure. You don't want to have something like that happen. And he said that his son said to him, and it's a son, so, all things considered, but he's like, Dad, I'm really proud of you. This is amazing. Because this is something that Democrats and Republicans alike can say is very good. I think this is going to be a litmus test for people measuring their sanity. If it works. We had the press conference in the last 30 minutes. Let's give it a little time to trust but verify.
This would not have happened without President Trump's leadership. I told my son last night, we're all under secrecy about this, but I told my son late last night, a 27-year-old son, Connor, who was a very liberal Democrat. I told him this was happening, and he just paused for a minute, and he said, thank you, Dad, I'm so proud of you. Because this is something Democrats have wanted for 20 years. Republicans have wanted for 20 years. Everybody said they're going to do it. Nobody has even taken a step towards doing it.
Okay, so you guys know I've been watching The West Wing, right?
Yeah.
Back in West Wing, real close to ending season 3. I think it should be mandatory viewing in every household to go back and look what turn of the millennium Democrats looked like.
Ooh, interesting.
Jed Bartlett, Martin Sheen is a Democrat president. You will watch it. You will watch the show, and you will love him. You will love him. You will love his staff. And then they'll make these arguments for the policy that the Democrats in control want to, what the things that they're trying to implement. And it's so fun to watch the process of what goes into something like the executive office and the West Wing. They're constantly making these arguments, but they're arguing most of these things from incredibly leftist, heartfelt, sounds good, isn't practical, isn't doable positions. They are talking in there about the cost of drugs in the turn of the century. And here you have RFK Jr. saying Democrats have been talking about this for 20 years. The West Wing is older than that. And they were talking about it there, and they're talking about it like passionately. They're romantic about the way they're talking about affordable drug prices and healthcare and all of that. Go back. I mean, serious, you will love this show. It will not turn you into a Democrat. Actually, if they persuade you into believing the things they believe, 50% of the things that they say are now moderate to right of the center. It's jaw-dropping, and I can't ruin the entire show for my entire family by continuing to pause and explaining things to them. I'm like the worst viewer ever to be watching the West Wing. I'm like, kids, you got to understand something. And then I go in and I explain for 3 minutes about why the gun policy that they just said sounds great, but it's not going to work. But you get to hear the other side of the aisle on policies, discuss and labor through these things. And a lot of the times, the things that they're saying now have shifted to center of the aisle, if not just a wink to the conservative side. And, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. That's not me talking, but that is a lot of people talking. And RFK Jr. is standing in the Oval Office, partnered with Donald Trump. He's still a Democrat, isn't he?
As far as I know.
He ran for the Democratic nomination and was told go away. He was able to get it done because he saw eye to eye with Donald Trump in a way to get something done, and he was able to do it. We've got Congressman Mike Bost coming up. We're going to talk about the military here shortly with Mike Bost, about military standards being reinstated. We're going to talk about government shutdowns, and we're going to continue to talk about the medication price lowering. It's a big day in the Trump administration. We'll see what you think about it. Congressman Bost, real quick, next. Don't go away.
She'd be packing all her things and she...
Well, yes, it's still September, so I can talk about my birthday, right? So we went out to Andrea's for my birthday dinner. I haven't gotten to talk about this since, even though it was back on the 16th. It was fantastic, and I'm not very adventurous when I go there because I love the filet mignon so much. But we were there with my whole family, and everybody ordered different things. Prime rib. My son got the lobster Andrea pasta. So there's some great selections there that I don't talk about enough because I love the filet so much. My son got an 8-ounce filet. That's the smallest one they serve. I got the 12-ounce. And the thing about going there is that all your sides are included. So your salad, your potato, vegetable, whatever you want to get with it, your bread, that's all a part of it. So many places do a la carte, but ultimately there, you order one thing, you get the whole meal. It's one of the things I love about Andrea's. And then we just ate that meal for like 3 days. You have so many leftovers, and it's such good food. If you've never visited Andrea's, you've never had an Andrea's steak specifically cooked in their signature Andrea's steak sauce, you got to go soon. Go to Andreas.com to find out where they're located. They're in Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, Illinois. Make it your next occasion. Andreas.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that.
I didn't know that was coming in there.
I didn't either.
Oh, that's Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and he is talking about the new standards that are going to be applied in the Department of War. That's a big news story today. And then, of course, President Trump is at the Oval Office talking about lowering drug prices, which is yet another big story. So we'll see how each of these shake out in the news cycle. It is a pleasure to have on the show with us once again Congressman Mike Bost. He is the representative for Illinois' 12th District and also chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. Congressman, thanks for being here with us today. I wanted to get your thoughts on Pete Hegseth. You bet. What do you think about that?
First off, I've known Pete for quite some time. And Pete and I have always talked about the fact that we believe that our military, their job is to fight our nation's battles. That means that their job is to deliver a bullet downrange or to support the people that are delivering the bullet downrange. That is exactly what our military needs to be. They don't need to be woke. We don't need to down the physical fitness test. They need to be in the best possible shape they can possibly be. They need to be ready to be our war fighters when we need them. They need to have be put and assigned to their MOSs, which is their military occupational services, and do them to the best of their ability and be trained on those and those alone. We don't, and if you spend too much time, as they have over the last several years, worried about being woke, worried about gender affirming, doing all of these things, then you can't do that job, which is a most important job, which is provide a national defense. And he is exactly right, and he did a great job of delivering that message to all of our officers that were present at the Pentagon this morning.
Congressman Mike Bost with us, the chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. I'm certain that you represent very many brave and important and valuable females who are veterans of this country. And I imagine that women have been very important in the safety and security of this country. That seems to be, I tuned in MSNBC for about 3 minutes, Congressman. They're very concerned about the women. What do you think?
Well, don't be concerned about the women. There are certain standards that women have to meet just as well. And not only that, women have their MOSs that they will be assigned to. Some of those women are some of the best sailors, some of the best airmen, some of the best Marines and best soldiers that we have. The statement was very simple, though. There is a standard that should be met if you're going to be a warfighter, and that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I did send this. I sent Pete Hegseth's comments. I didn't even say anything to it, to one of my dear friends who has retired from the Army and has done many tours overseas. And I just sent it to him, and he goes, "Finally, true equality, one standard for everybody, and that actually makes them equal." So that was the thought for there. I wanted to ask you about.
Well,
go ahead.
Here's the thing: if I am in a fire squad, that's for people in the Marine Corps, that's what's the lowest group of a unit, which is a fire squad. I want the other three to be as physically fit, if not more physically fit than myself.
Right.
Because they're the ones that have my back if something goes wrong.
Amen to that. Well, let's shift gears here a little bit. I wanted to give you the opportunity to comment on that because it's a direct news story today. But, of course, a government shutdown looms. I'm hearing it called the Schumer shutdown. What is your assessment right now on the pending government shutdown? Is it going to happen? And if it does happen, what needs to take place in order for the government to get back open?
First off, it shouldn't happen because, just so you know, we've done our job. We sent a temporary continuing resolution that goes through November 21st so that we can then work on the rest of the budget. There should not be a government shutdown. Unfortunately, in the Senate, it takes 60 votes, not a simple majority, 51 votes, to take up the bill. Schumer himself, 7 months ago, passed a similar, if not exact, well, a similar continuing resolution. But because the politics of this is he's getting pressure from the left, especially AOC, who's threatening to challenge him in a primary for his Senate seat, and also from his left actually in the Senate that are wanting to challenge him for being the Democrat leader. So he is decided politically, even though during the last administration, they voted and argued why it is a government shutdown is never right 13 times. Let me say that again. 13 times during the previous administration, they voted for CRs, okay? So this shows just how political this is. Then the answer to the second part of your question, the big problem I have is, so politically he's going to do this so he has so he can say he did what his left wanted him to do. But I don't know how he gets out of it.
Yeah, that's the question.
What is the offer that's good enough? But and there's not going to be an offer because we exactly know where it is and what it is that we passed and why we passed this continuing resolution the way we did so that we keep some specialty stuff open. That's why we sent it over. But this offer that he has given to the president of wanting $1.5 trillion to basically prop up Obamacare and also to provide health Medicaid for illegals is ridiculous, and the taxpayers know it. And the taxpayers say, "Don't do that with my tax dollars."
Do elected congressional Republicans know how absurd it would be to cave to Chuck Schumer to provide that health care to those illegal immigrants?
I think Thune was very clear last night in some interviews on that's not happening. Okay, now just so you know, yesterday afternoon at 3:00 Eastern time, all 4 of the leaders were with the president talking about this issue. Everybody else is on board. Well, I say that it doesn't matter where Jeffers is because none of them voted for it. Well, that's not true. There was one Democrat member in the House that voted for the continuing resolution. So we did it strictly by Republican votes. And so, but at any rate, all 4 were right there to talk. And it just didn't sound like anything was going to be offered by the Democrats as acceptable.
So if you get the CR through, let's just, skip past, okay, government shuts down, and then maybe I guess what's going to happen is Chuck Schumer is going to have to cave, and they're going to have to agree to something. That just gets us to the point where everybody comes back to the table to negotiate the appropriations bills that need to be done by the end of the year.
That is correct.
Can you skip over the part, the shutdown dance that we're going to do here to where we're back negotiating about the appropriations bills? How's that going to get done?
So here's our hope. Just so you know, we're talking with the leader. I spoke with him yesterday. We had and we will, and then we have a chairman's call on Thursday, but we are planning as of right now, tentatively to be back in Monday to continue to do work that we can. Okay, so the negotiations go on. We can argue about each one of the 12 bills. Understand though, we've already got 70-some%, not 70%. Okay, let me clarify. There are 12 bills, but about 4 of those bills get you 70% of the budget done.
Okay.
So we're over 70% of the budget because we've already passed those out of the House. Okay, the Senate still has to take those up, but we've already passed them out of the House. And we have, I think we've got about another 4 bills yet to do. But those are the ones that are always controversial. Somebody tries to put some, and you can pass the other bills because what we're talking about is we're talking about national defense, we're talking about veteran stuff. All of those have already passed. So we can go ahead and the Senate can already go ahead and pass those, not passing all 12. And if you get down to the end that there's 1 or 2 of those budgets that we didn't get passed, you can CR those for a year.
Okay. Isn't that what happened last year?
Yeah, that's what's happened ever since 1972, except twice.
Okay, so that would be the status quo. And we're in a moment right now. It seems like everything Donald Trump is doing as the executive in his second term is not status quo.
That is correct.
Do you expect anything? I mean, should we really hold our breath and expect anything different by the end of this year from House Republicans, Senate Republicans, and the president?
I think you're still going to have something that's going to have to be CR'd. I hope that that's not the case. I'd love to be in Congress whenever we actually pass all 12 bills one time, be the third time. And remember, it isn't. This has nothing to do with the administration. This has to do with Congress because the administration doesn't pass the budget. We do. And that's constitutional and we've got to get done. But the problem is when do we wake up as a Congress as a whole and look at the 1972 Budget Act and say, okay, this doesn't work. So what can we put back together that forces us to actually get things done and have a budget every year that doesn't have any CRs in it? Because what happens is, if you're in an agency and you have now been CR'd, you can't shift money around. You can't. You can only do what you did the year before, which quite often changes year by year with any job, and that's the problem with the CRs.
Congressman Mike Bost speaking with us. I guess my biggest question is going into a midterm election where traditionally that midterm election doesn't go the way of the controlling party on the whole. Is this it? Is this the last shot that a Republican-controlled House and Senate is going to have at doing big, transformative, constitutionally rooted, fiscally responsible things? Or how do you feel about the midterms coming up?
No, I don't. I think the midterms are looking very good. You understand whether you agree with the gerrymandering that's going on around this nation. Texas actually has added more Republican seats. Missouri is actually adding more Republican seats. Then you're also looking at the fact, and it's a long time until the election itself, but everything that we've done, a majority of the people are very happy with what we have done, including what Pete Hegseth did this morning, and see it as we're doing a good job. Only if the Democrats would come back and offer some different ideas, but they're not. They're doubling down on the ideas that got them unelected in the first place. And because of that, and their radical left is holding them hostage, and as long as that's what's being seen out there, now, well, here's the problem. Remember, a majority of your news stations don't see that. So it requires the voter to actually either listen to what's being advertised in the campaigns by the Republicans or checking facts. And I'll give you an example of that. I have a doctor here in my home county in Jackson County that is on social media still touting that in the big beautiful bill that we don't call the big beautiful bill anymore. It doesn't make sense. But the in that bill, they claim that we cut our rural hospitals. The Democrats did. It has been proven over and over and over again that that's not the case. There's been editorials written on that's not the case. But yet I have a doctor who's trusted on social media saying our rural hospitals, when we put $54 billion in new money for rural hospitals, cut nothing from hospitals, the only thing we did was make sure that illegals cannot be on Medicaid and that you have work requirements for Medicaid and for SNAP. So as long as you got to try to get the message out, but the real problem is that people lie on social media.
For sure. I want to ask you one last follow-up before we let you go. We're speaking with Congressman Mike Bost, representing Illinois' 12th District, one of 3 Republicans in Congress out of the state of Illinois. I got to say, the national spotlight on our state for being the petri dish for absurd leftist policies and politicians. The national spotlight here on the state of Illinois, I feel like maybe Republicans could have a shot in this midterm election, which is our statewide election. I just wanted to get your thoughts on how 2026 is shaping up specifically for your state of Illinois.
Well, I hope that, it will be a contested primary, and I hope the person that can truly win will come out, be successful, because if we keep our governor doing the things he's doing, I say that there is when you can walk down the North Shore on a walk path and try to claim that it's crime free and the president isn't telling the truth, but you're walking on the North Shore, which is the area that doesn't have a lot of crime, and you're walking with bodyguards.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's
bodyguards with
crime.
guns.
Yeah. And go on the South Side by yourself, and then tell me what it's like, okay? And so as long as we have a governor that keeps doing that, and a state legislature that they're passing crazy stuff or trying to pass crazy stuff, but sometimes people are so busy doing their daily lives that if they don't pay attention to what's going on, until it negatively affects them, they're just going to keep working and doing what they're doing. But now you're just seeing, whether it's taxation and the crime rate and everything else that's in the state of Illinois, it's got to be time for a change. Remember, people sure didn't think it would change back in 1995 whenever the Republicans had total control of the House, total control of the Senate, and every statewide office, and we paid our bills on a 28-day pay cycle. So, and at that time, everybody thought, no, they'll be in the state. And then the pendulum swung.
All right. Well, Congressman Bost, please come back again soon. We will be watching this government shutdown and seeing how the Republicans and Democrats handle themselves. We're grateful for the insight today.
And thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Congressman Mike Bost, Illinois' 12th District Representative, Chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. Interesting to get his thoughts on Pete Hegseth's announcement today. All right, a quick break. The YouTube live chat poll, should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards? Yes or no? What do you think? Go vote on the Any Fry YouTube channel and tell us why you think what you think. Yes or no? We'll be right back. AirComfortService.com if you're in need of some sort of service to your HVAC system, air conditioning. We're kind of getting into the time, close to the time, where you might be using the AC and the furnace in the same day. I think that's something that sets St. Louis in this area aside. There are people around the country who would not even believe that that is a reality. We know better. If you find that you do have to make a replacement, it's not an exciting thing to do, but once you get that new furnace and it's working better and it's more efficient, golly, it is way too expensive right now to run an inefficient furnace in your home. If you need a new furnace, a boiler, heat pump, or even an entire HVAC system, call my friends at Air Comfort Service, Corey Malone, a wonderful guy. He has helped me many times over. I'm a happy customer of Air Comfort Service. For a limited time, Carrier Cool Cash rebates are back. Save up to $2,100 in Carrier Cool Cash on qualifying HVAC equipment. Plus, you can qualify for 0% financing for up to 72 months plus tax credits. 314-513-0091. Call 314-513-0091 online at aircomfortservice.com.
When it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. Quo lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? Quo automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With Quo's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with Quo. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/free and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's quo.com/free. QUO.com/free.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards? It's a yes or no. Let us know what you think. We'll give you the results at the end of the show as usual. 12:42. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Where common sense rules the mic. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
So we had a press conference in the Oval Office. We were talking about this at the beginning of the show. Did you watch it, Ryan? Did you?
Yeah, some of it.
Some of it, but you didn't get to see it all?
No.
Good, because this part was super funny. So I guess Trump talked, and then he had everybody else talk, and then Trump goes back to the podium and starts taking questions from. And so he's up there and he's kind of talking and doing his thing.
We'll get it down even further. But insulin was, people weren't taking it, I would imagine. They couldn't take it. God bless you, Bobby. I hope I didn't catch COVID just Don't you have Paxlovid? He's got Paxlovid. Give me a Paxlovid immediately. We'll get it.
Is Donald Trump like... You got to know that behind the scenes, he's cracking jokes. I mean, obviously, if it's a serious situation, he's not, but he's pretty quick on the draw. And I think it's really interesting that he's not afraid. And he's very proud of this announcement. This is a big deal for Donald Trump. I think it's interesting that in the middle of this press conference where he has the attention of all of the cameras, the reporters, they're all facing him, asking him questions. He's willing to crack when you've got the Department of Health and Human Services, you've got the Surgeon General, all the doctors and medical people, he's cracking COVID jokes. I think that's funny.
A couple weeks ago, RFK said, and it was another one of those sort of side comments when he was doing a press conference, that Trump will call him every few days and say, Bobby, what are you doing? You making America healthy again yet or not?
I didn't ever hear that.
I mean, it's funny, but I think he's pushing him to do this kind of stuff. And it's getting done because the president is constantly on the horn pushing.
Yeah, it's heartwarming. And the thing about it being heartwarming is we were supposed to believe that this guy is the great Satan, the great orange Satan. And that's been believed by a lot of people for a very long time. And it just feels like we're going through each and every day. One more layer of this onion is being peeled back. We're starting to see, a lot of us have seen what is real and what is true for a long time, but a lot of people haven't. They've been intentionally deceived. I'm still looking for, the government shutdown is a really good example of this. I am looking for some evidence of what the left, the elected left, is really passionate about. What's I don't even like using the phrase hill you're going to die on. What are they very passionate about doing for the American people?
I don't know.
Is that wild?
I don't know. I really, really don't. And I wish that there was something that you could say that's the thing. And look, if you're on the left, leave a comment in the chat and say that's the thing. I will definitely
This is what they're going to say. This is what they're going to say, Ryan. The left is on the side of human decency.
Well, say something specific.
Give me a policy.
Great. I'm glad you're on the side of human decency. I really am. What does that mean?
We're going to, probably in the 1 o'clock hour, do a trip around the horn here and look at the different homepages of Fox, CNN, and MSNBC. I'm looking at it right now, but I don't have enough time to get into it. I will say CNN's, I'm going to give you the main headline on Fox, CNN, and MSNBC right now, and then we'll take a break and we'll do a deeper dive in the 1 o'clock hour. Fox's headline, well, let me start. Okay, I'm going to do this. It's refreshing, so if it changes, I'll tell you. Hegseth unveils sweeping military overhaul. Quote, era of Department of Defense is over. And the headline with a very aggressively pointing kind of towards the camera, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says, Warriors unleashed. It's funny. CNN, top headline. Biggest, boldest, blackest letters up there. Trump says government is, quote, probably likely to shut down. That's just treading.
It's a factual headline.
Mm-hmm. And then the subheadline of the same story says, as the midnight deadline approaches, Republicans need at least 7 Senate Democrats to join them to pass a spending package. I'm just going to say, salute to you, hats off. That's factual information. And if this is my test, if I read Trump says government is, quote, probably likely, end quote, to shut down on Fox News, I wouldn't be offended by it. But when I see it on CNN, I'm offended by it. Well, that's because I'm letting my emotions, no pun intended, trump my objectivity, my ability to look at that and go, well, that's factually true. It doesn't have to be an attack.
No, you're not. You're letting history dictate what their angle is.
MSNBC. Big, bold headline. Pete Hegseth's pitch to generals and admirals was even worse than expected.
Oh, that's factual.
I read that, which is what made me feel like CNN was like, all right, you're doing okay, C+. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America returns after a brief hiatus where Ethan really elevated the game.
No, he did not.
We'll be right back. Don't go away.
No escape. I can't wait. I need a hit. Baby, give me it. You're dangerous.
Point Pest Control. It's Point with an E, folks. Got spiders in your house. I know you're decorating with spiders right now because you people are crazy. I don't want to see them. I don't like them. I want them gone. Point Pest Control came to our house a few Novembers ago because we had some wolf spiders in the basement. And before you tell me that wolf spiders are good because they eat whatever, I'm like already checked out. I don't want them in my basement. They don't need to be in my basement. Anything that they were eating, Point Pest Control is getting rid of those things too. Call 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023, and talk to Point Pest Control about your ant, spider, cricket, mice, whatever the critter is, whatever the pest is. They'll come help you with that problem and make it so that it's not there anymore. I'm a quarterly service provider. You can be a premier service provider as well, but mention my name. You're going to save 10% on the top of any other discounts that they have, specials that they have going right now. 636-798-0023. That's 636-798-0023. Call my friends at Point Pest Control. Oh, gosh, I love these people. I don't have spiders in my home. What's better than that? PointPestControl.com.
Join us October 23rd at Lit Cigar Lounge as we celebrate 25 years. Enjoy drinks from Lore Wine and Spirits, Old Dominic Distillery, and Rayburn Wines, plus live music by Pretty Weeds and more. Tickets at 971talk.com/events. Presented by Rhino Shield and U.S. Men's Medical Center.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. And you know, your home is your sanctuary. You need to take the first step to peace of mind with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac generator dealer in the country, Generator Supercenter. We learned the hard way here in St. Louis during the tornado recently that power can be knocked out. But even outside of that, what if the power grid fails and it's 100 degrees here in St. Louis? You don't want to be that person. Get with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis today. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Tell them that we sent you along.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Family focused, faith-filled, always on point. It's the Annie Fry Show.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins!
Disappointing!
No.
That's for Ethan.
That's for Ethan.
That's for Ethan, because he's really mad that I haven't made you change it.
I know, he is actually mad.
He's like, you have my back every other time. I'm like, yeah, but it's funny.
Yeah, it's in the name of comedy in the show. We have to leave that because it's extremely funny because I made it.
That could be the subtitle on your resume for what you do here.
It's extremely funny because I made it.
No, in the name of comedy and the show. That explains everything.
Well, this one is definitely not a funny segment today. It is things that have nothing, a bunch of stories that have nothing to do with me because I'm selfless. These are about you.
And incredibly humble, the most humble.
Things I think you need to know as a listener.
Thank you.
This is from the Weather Channel. We'll start with like a
You
feel-good
are
story.
always just worrying about other people.
I fret.
He paces. He cries.
I don't
He
do
sobs.
that. That's too much.
He sobs.
All right. In the name of comedy in the show, that was fun.
We're even. Let's stop this.
Okay. We're even. Not Ethan. This is from the Weather Channel. This is just a feel-good story real quick. It's about a humpback whale freed from a tangled rope. I'll just read this one paragraph here to make you feel good. This huge humpback whale named Wiggins was trapped in I'm just reading it from the Weather Channel. What? Huge humpback whale named Wiggins was trapped in a 400-foot tangled rope and fishing gear.
It's okay, folks. He's been out for a while. He'll get his words back.
Crews were able to locate and rescue the massive mammal named Wiggins off of the coast.
Why is it named Wiggins?
I don't know the answer to that. I just stumbled across this feel-good story. Off the coast of Vancouver, taking 6 hours to eventually free the whale.
Jackie says, looking svelte, Wiggins. I don't know if we're talking about you or the humpback whale, but we'll look into it.
It's got to be me. We don't have the whale up. Unless she's saying, I'm a whale, I'm not that fat. All right, next story. Hundreds of people. Now,
You could have just said, I'm not fat.
I'm not that fat. I'm a little fat.
I'm not that fat.
I'm working on it, but I'm also, getting older. Here we go. Hundreds of people named Ryan gather for Ryan-toberfest in New York. Just a random kind of fun story here that doesn't have
What you think about when you go on vacation?
No. I'm just this is stuff I gathered from the weekend that I
Did
thought.
you just Google Ryan and Wiggins and just take the top 4 results?
You're connecting these things to me. I'm just reporting on different news stories.
Gosh, I'm glad we went long with Congressman Bost. Go
Hundreds
on.
of people sharing the same first name met up in New York for the second ever Ryan-toberfest. To celebrate the moniker Ryan, an attempt to Guinness World Record. Ryan Meetup is a national organization that frequently organizes events catering to people with the first name Ryan. Okay, more stories that don't have anything to do with
Would
me.
you feel empowered and emboldened being surrounded by a lot of other Ryans, or would you be greatly intimidated?
I think I'd look like this. Ew. Why does everybody do Ryan? That's mine.
That's what I do. Go on.
All right, next one. McDonald's. Again, these have nothing to do with me. These are all about you. McDonald's brings back Monopoly after nearly a decade with $1 million cash prize up for grabs. So if you loved Monopoly.
So wait, it's digital? I saw a headline on this and said that it was like a digital-based version.
Well, I think that's there, but the peel-off little stamps.
It's going to be back?
Oh, yeah, that's still there.
That game was so fun. I don't
It's the
care if it
best.
was I don't care if it was a fraud.
Yeah, they could take my money all day. I just love peeling a little thing and seeing if I got a French fry. Starting October 6th, which is at the end of this week, the game will return for a limited time. Instead of a physical board, though, customers will play through the company's mobile app.
That's what it
as
is.
registered loyalty members, but you still get the stamp.
So you peel it off and then you probably registered or something.
And I mean, ultimately, you know which pieces you're looking for.
How many boards did you get when you
I
would play this in the past?
When I
We'd
was
have,
a kid, I'd get the boards.
Yeah.
When I got older, I knew, okay, I'm looking for Boardwalk, or I'm looking for
Where'd you keep
whatever
them?
piece. I throw most of them away because they weren't winners. But if you found the key one within that color, you just hang on to that one.
And just go order 30 French fries. So you fill out the rest of them.
Yeah, this Pacific Avenue is worth about $30,000. I'm going to need that in burgers and McDonald's.
Well, thank you for coming back and doing an incredibly selfless Wiggins America.
That's why I'm here.
It is. We'll talk about your vacation later.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, Jim Talent and Paul Mauro. Great 1 o'clock hour on the Annie Fry Show coming up next. Don't go away.
If it's time for new windows, there's only one place to call. That is Window World. Mark Cox here. Call my friends at Window World at 314-993-1800 for your free estimate today. If you have any questions, they'll be glad to send someone out to explain all of it to you. You can even schedule right online at windowworldstl.com. You know, there's a lot of high-interest financing out there, but here's what Window World's doing. Right now, they're offering 18 up to 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. You can't beat that. You also get a lifetime warranty that covers all of the parts, the glass breakage, and labor. Who else stands behind their product like that? Over half the appointments Window World will set this year are from previous customers or referrals from those customers. That is a testimony to their customer service, their quality quality and their commitment to creating loyal customers. That's what you get with Window World. Call them at 314-993-1800, windowworldstl.com.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Time slipping away on Capitol Hill. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. With 10 hours left to avoid a government shutdown, President Trump telling reporters this about a shutdown.
Nothing is inevitable, but I would say it's probably likely because they want to give health care to illegal immigrants, which will destroy health care for everybody else in our country. And I didn't see them bend even a little bit when I said we can't do that.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Republicans are trying to bully Democrats by refusing to negotiate on several issues, including an extension of expiring health care benefits. Republicans say Democrats should support a short-term bill to keep existing funds going and address policy differences separately. Federal health officials say hundreds of medications will cost less under a new deal with Pfizer.
For many years, Americans have paid the highest prices anywhere in the world for prescription drugs. They paid far more, 10 times, 13 times, 15 times more than other countries for the exact same product.
President Trump had launched a directive to achieve most favored nation pricing earlier this year. The Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla calls this a historic day.
The big winner of this deal clearly will be the American patient. There is no doubt about it. They are the ones that will see significant impact in their ability to buy medicines.
He says for too long, the U.S. had assumed the proportional cost of innovation. The administration is still working on more potential deals with other drug makers. The head of the Federal Communications Commission denies claims the agency is being weaponized to target Trump critics. FCC Chair Brendan Carr defending his recent comments, pushing Disney and local broadcasters to stop airing Jimmy Kimmel Live and saying the panel does not want to see weaponization of government by any administration against any perspective. This during a hearing today. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Our temperature's a good 10 degrees above average, but at least the humidity is low. Plenty of sunshine. We should top out at about 88 today. Partly cloudy skies will fall back into the upper 70s fairly quickly this evening once the sun goes down, 63. Wednesday, partly sunny, 86. Thursday and Friday, still low humidity, sunny and 88. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If you need a new furnace, get Carrier Cool Cash rebates and 0% financing so you'll be nice and cozy as the weather turns. For a free estimate on a new heating system, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Range.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Before I was an ambassador, I was a history professor. You got to go back. You got to go back maybe to Teddy Roosevelt to see an achievement that would match that of President Trump and his team. Keep in mind, what has he done here? He's brought together countries, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, with European countries that don't even agree on anything, much less on Israel, brought them all.
So you got the ambassador there of the former ambassador to the United States talking about what Donald Trump successfully was able to do with working with Bibi Netanyahu, at least putting together a potential plan for peace. And in the midst of all this, we do have to wait for Hamas to come to an agreement. And it sounds like there's going to be about 3 or 4 days for Hamas to be able to respond to this. And seems like a good plan. Is it actually workable? Is there actually something here that could resolve peace with Gaza, in Gaza? And a lot of that plan, that 20-point plan that we talked about and covered yesterday, involves the restoration of Gaza. It's not just peace, it's what happens next as well, if they will agree to it. Let's speak to former United States Senator from Missouri, Jim Talent. Thank you so much, Senator, for being here with us today. It's good to have you back. What are your thoughts on the press conference yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu next to President Trump, and the plan that they've put together?
Well, I agree with what you opened with. It's an outstanding diplomatic effort and really the result of the entire last, 7-8 months of the Trump administration, in which he has rebuilt his personal ties and also with his trade policy and other ways maximize the influence of the United States and his own influence over world events. So I very much agree with that. I'm getting excited about the plan because I think if anything can end the war, this type of plan can do it. And even if it doesn't, it is laying out the roadmap for what Gaza is going to look like afterwards. In other words, the war is going to end either as a result of Hamas agreeing to this plan or Israel finishing off Hamas, and then we all have to get together to think about what to do with Gaza. And I think this is very plausible. Now, 2 points. First, this is only possible because Israel is now engaged in the final stage of its battle in Gaza, which is the utter destruction of Hamas. It's the only circumstances under which they would consider agreeing to it. Second, I think what we have to watch out for here is Hamas trying to weasel out agreeing conditionally or something, then saying it can't find the hostages or it needs some extra time, which I think is probably why the president said, look, you either agree to this or you're going to, what were the words he used, pay in hell for it. Mm-hmm. So we got to be ready for that. But the fact that the Europeans are on board and the Arab states are on board and Qatar and Turkey are leaning on Hamas to accept this is extremely significant. And again, a real triumph for President Trump's diplomacy. There's just no other way to phrase it.
Senator Talent speaking with us right now. President Trump said Hamas has 3 to 4 days to respond, and he said hopefully they agree or they will have a very sad end. Is there anywhere else? I mean, we've done our business in Iran, of course, a few months ago. Is there anywhere else for Hamas to turn to have support and resources to combat what everybody else is starting to circle the wagons and say, okay, this is going to have to end, and it can end peacefully? Does Hamas have anywhere else to go?
Well, certainly not in the short term. Iran can no longer help them. Couldn't get the arms to them if they could, because the lines of supply have been cut off. Hamas is facing utter destruction. That's what the Israeli operation against Gaza City means. And so at the same time, I mean, I still have to say I will believe when I see it that they turn over these hostages, because once they do that, they've lost all leverage. I think the key here is that the roadmap going forward for Gaza is a process that will involve the other Arab countries, which will give it legitimacy, but which at the end of the day is controlled by the United States, which is the only authority outside of Israel that the Israelis will trust. It's the only way that Netanyahu could get this approved, and not just because of the right in his cabinet, the right wing, which is not the same as the right wing here, by the way, but also because really Israel as a whole, across the political spectrum, they're simply not going to trust the creation of an independent state after the last 25 years, the intifadas, the October 7th, all the other attacks, unless they know it is controlled by an utterly reliable partner. And so that was a sine qua non of Netanyahu agreeing.
So when President Trump is delivering these remarks yesterday at this press conference, when he is, he's going over parts of the 20-point plan. Prime Minister Netanyahu is standing next to him. He's talking about, I think a board of peace was talked about, and he said, he goes, this wasn't my idea, but that he would chair the board of peace to try to ensure that the restoration of Gaza and the growth of Gaza. It's interesting to talk about Gaza in the form of hope as opposed to just violence and destruction and sadness.
Yes.
How integral is Donald Trump inserting himself into the middle of all of this? And is he a control freak? Are people asking him to step into these roles? How does President Trump fit into the success of this plan?
Well, he's pursuing American interests. Is he inserting himself in the middle? I wouldn't say in the middle of it, but he is exercising the influence of the United States skillfully on behalf of our interests. Our interests are the protection of the homeland, which is why Iran no longer has nuclear weapons, and why we have supported Israel in the last 7 months in wiping out their proxies, who are all enemies of the United States. That's one interest we have. And then we have an interest in a stable Middle East, an equilibrium that is controlled by partners who have basically the same interests we do, at least in the stability of the Middle East. And that partnership, which Trump achieved in his first term and has clearly been putting back together, is the United States, Jordan, Egypt, the Gulf states, and Israel. Now, that doesn't mean everybody in that partnership is going to agree on everything. There will always be issues in the Middle East. Syria is the first one that, comes to mind. But it means we can get an equilibrium. We can get stability, that's our second vital national interest in the Middle East, is stability. We don't want attacks on shipping. We don't want the Suez Canal closed. We don't want oil prices to go through the roof because somebody's blowing up Saudi Arabia. So he's pursuing America's interest. In the service of that, he has maximized his influence, recognized the kind of coalition that can achieve our ends, and he's put it together.
It's a very political thing to see how in the American media a lot of this stuff gets spun. It's always like, did he achieve peace or not? And I just got to think, you of all people, Senator Talent, would understand how complicated and fragile all of these situations and circumstances might be. We saw President Trump in Alaska with President Putin, and I don't know that we're closer to peace today in that conflict than we were when that meeting happened. I made this comment yesterday that I'm very impressed with what appears to be President Trump's obsession with ending wars. And we were told when he was running for office, before he was president, and then again when he was president, and then when he was running again, that if he were to be elected, we'd be in wars all over the world. But he seems obsessed with the idea of peace and ending war and conflict. Is that your perception of President Trump?
Yeah, I do. I think I've said on the show before, he has a personal aversion to war. I mean, no decent person likes war. But I think Trump feels that on a personal level very deeply, more than I would. He's very choosy about using American military power, which is certainly the right principle to follow. I'm concerned sometimes that he takes it a little bit too far, but I think that's correct. But I also think, again, I mean, the interests I just talked about that America has in the Middle East, they predate President Trump. I mean, I was on a panel in 2010. We issued a report and we talked about those interests. So he's basically pursuing American interests, but he's doing it by finding other countries that have basically the same interest and acting with them. And he's very effective at personal diplomacy. Now, of course, his opponents will never admit this. And you can pick at particular tactics, but he has, on the whole, and I've said this for years, I said it after his first term, he's the most effective foreign policy president since at least H.W. Bush and maybe Reagan. He just is. He has his own style and the way he does it. But he's very effective. And you notice with Ukraine, he has said himself a number of times recently, he said, I thought that would be one of the easiest to solve, and it's turning out to be the hardest. And I do have to say, Annie, I was right in that. I said months ago, Putin is not going to want to come to this table. So we can talk about that if you want to. That I think is going to be the last one he gets solved.
Is it something that can be solved? To me, I'm watching it and hoping for the best. I guess the peace, obviously, that would come between these two warring nations, but also being able to focus on the things that we need to focus on here domestically, and not having to put so much of the president of the United States' time and effort into trying to solve this peace. Is it possible that peace is not possible, and that what we need is less death, less violence, and you got to call that whatever it is?
Perfect peace is not possible, but a basically stable world in which American security is protected, our interests, economic and otherwise, are advanced. That is very possible. Now, a couple of points. First of all, because of the reaction, and which was fully justified, to the failures in Iraq and Afghanistan, some have drawn the conclusion that we should not try to exercise influence in the world. I think what Trump understands is that, no, we do need to exercise influence, but we exercise it on behalf of American interests, and we use means which keep us away, obviously, from escalating armed conflict with a peer competitor. In other words, we don't want escalating conflict with China, because that could lead to a nuclear exchange. But also, we don't want these long, draining conflicts that, where American casualties mount up and it costs us trillions of dollars. But where we can support allies in conflicts that advance our interests and then negotiate peace that advances our interests, that's exactly what we ought to be doing. And if it means that our president is involved in these things, that's a good thing, in my view. And so, yeah, I support it's an intelligent American first. And every successful president's done this. Reagan was American first. He didn't put it that way, but I can give you 10 instances that indicate that. And I think Trump is very much in his tradition strategically. Now, tactically, he's different. You watch the press conference, you watch the difference in styles between him and Netanyahu, which I think is very funny. Netanyahu, very serious. Trump, going off on a stream of consciousness sometimes. But listen, he knows what he's doing. His detractors hate to admit it, never will admit it, but he does.
Yeah. Last question before we let you go. We're grateful for your time. We're speaking with former United States Senator from Missouri, Jim Talent. I wanted to get your thoughts on the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth's comments today and talking about reestablishing standards that are uniform and that aren't lowered, in his words, among many other words that he spoke today. What did you think about that press conference or gathering of our military officials that he had today?
Yeah, it's been a consistent theme. He's been effective in messaging it and enforcing it. We should be aiming for getting the best people who can do the best job on behalf of the American people in every agency of the federal government. We should be making decisions without regard, to race, ethnicity. We should be wanting the best people. It's especially important in the Department of Defense. It's a live or die agency. And you have to get the best people. You have to keep the standard high. And then you're going to see. And the odd thing about it is, it's not even odd, is the Department of Defense was integrated in the late 1940s. It's the most outstanding example of the achievement of the aspirational goals of the civil rights movement that we have in this country. I mean, anybody who served will tell you that. The esprit de corps, the unit cohesion, the sense of mission that pulls people together, regardless of their backgrounds. That's the way to do it, and that's what Hegseth is saying. And I think he's sending a message to the officer corps, and particularly the generals and flags. I got to look at his comments. I haven't done it yet, but he doesn't want any overweight generals or flag officers either. He doesn't want people coasting because they finally got the star or the second star. And he's right. And you have to send that message to them periodically. So I'm glad he did it. This is something he's doing personally. It's something he feels strongly about, and it's a good message.
Well, it's interesting to get your take on that, and I think it's a really sea change, at least in the way a lot of these things are being viewed. And I will be interested to see how it helps with recruiting, assuming that it does help with recruiting, to see what the numbers continue to increase as President Trump has been elected. Of course, we need to have our military be very strong, and we are very proud of it, of course.
Yes, and the best people. And I think recruiting is going to continue to go up. And for your listeners, I mean, look, if you're a young person or you know a young person who wants an outstanding career, you can succeed at this, whether you want to make it a career or just do a hitch or two. You can succeed at a whole lot of things. And a whole lot of people, one of them is the Vice President of the United States, got their start really in the military. And I'd encourage anybody to consider it. When I pick people for West Point and, the service academies, I always had a party for them afterwards. And I mean to tell you, nothing more encouraging than to see that America is still producing young people like that. I always love that and miss being able to do it.
Amen to that. Senator Talent, thank you, as always, for your time. We love having you here.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Come back again soon. Senator Jim Talent, former United States Senator from Missouri. Let's take a break. YouTube live chat poll. Should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards? Yes or no? What do you think? Go vote. A lot of people on MSNBC this morning. I think it's a whole panel of women. I was in the car listening, so I'm not 100% sure. They're worried about the women. What do you think? Let us know in the comments on the Annie-Fry YouTube live broadcast. Don't forget you can stream us anywhere you go, anytime in the Odyssey app. Find 97.1 FM Talk. We'd love to have you there. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Taking care of business every day. Taking care of business every way. I've been taking care of business. It's all mine. Taking care of business and working.
The Retirement Advisory Group is online at retirementkey.com. You can learn about the event that's coming up. I'm going to be there. I hope you will too. This Thursday, October 2nd. It's October already. That's crazy. Time flies, and maybe you're upon retirement, or you're wondering, gosh, could I do this? You want to meet with the Retirement Advisory Group and understand what they can do for you. They can help you answer those questions like, what do I do about setting up a personalized structured income plan? The Retirement Advisory Group can help you with that. That gives you comfort in knowing this is what I can expect in my retirement. Is it going to last for my entire lifetime? Will my 401k and IRA do the trick? The Retirement Advisory Group can help you answer that question. And for free, you can come sit down and listen to them 45 minutes or so. The event starts at 6:30 p.m. at the Frontenac Hilton this Thursday, October 2nd. And it's the Protecting Your Retirement educational event. Last one of the year. I'll be there from 6 to 6:30. Love to meet you. Mark Cox and Mark Reardon will be there as well. So come by and say hello. Sit down for about 45 minutes and listen to the Retirement Advisory Group folks tell you what you need to know for free, and then make a decision on whether to sign up with them after the fact. RetirementKey.com.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one who lives with you. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care, helping you with preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more.
A family member or friend that gets paid weekly. This Medicaid program is available to eligible St. Louis residents.
New to Medicaid? The Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 7,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. If you live in the St. Louis area,
this service is available through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers can choose to get paid weekly. So go to freedomcare.com now, or for faster service, call 314-697-4912. 314-697-4912. That's 314-697-4912.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, it appears as though Senator Thune, who is the Senate Majority Leader, is speaking right now on Capitol Hill. Let's listen in.
Question. But your members aren't concerned that this might backfire, and sometimes these programs come back and they say, wait a minute, that was important to my state, that was important to my district.
Our members are unified that a government shutdown is a really bad idea for all those reasons, and it's the exact reason why Democrats ought to vote to keep the government open.
Democrats have been pretty clear. They're going to defeat this House CR when it comes to the floor today. What is Plan B? Will you keep on bringing this back to the floor? And do you think the House should reconvene before Tuesday to maybe move the ball?
I don't know what the House can do that they haven't already done. They passed the bill. It's a bill that's passed by the House, sitting here in the Senate, ready to be signed into law by the President. And so, no, it's up to the Senate Democrats. That's where we are. And if they decide to vote it down tonight, they're going to be the ones that have to explain at midnight tonight why the government is shut down. It's really pretty straightforward. And this is something, again, that's been routine around here for a long time until all of a sudden the far left, as Senator Barrasso pointed out, hijacked the Democrat leadership here in the Senate, and they've decided to hijack the American people and hold them hostage to try and get a laundry list, a wish list, a Christmas list of their left-wing priorities attached, in their case, to a 4-week continuing resolution. Ours is 7 weeks, but they'll have the same leverage 7 weeks from now that they have today. And as I've said before, we're happy to sit down with them and talk about the concerns they have, the issues they have with, for example, the premium tax credits. But you got to do that. You can't do that in the context of a hostage situation. They need to release the hostage.
If there is a shutdown,
particularly in your foreign hostage.
Congress, this seems to be becoming a particularly bad time for them fixing a major crisis. No market in China, high input costs, low prices, and they are in a bind and going to need some additional help. Now, on top of that, they're facing a shutdown.
Right, and that's why we need to keep the government open. I'm just saying, the farm service agencies in my state, the Federal Highway Administration employees in my state or any of the other states, and my colleagues who are represented here, the Park Service employees in our state, these are all people that are going to be affected by this. And not to mention our military men and women, or men and women in uniform. So this is a totally avoidable crisis. And again, we are not going to be held hostage by the Democrats for more than $1 trillion in new spending, and all kinds of other items on their liberal wish list, to include free health care for illegal immigrants in this country.
So Senator Thune talking right there from Capitol Hill, and
there you go. All right, Senator Thune speaking live.
Be in a position there to talk about where the Democrats have positioned themselves, and they basically are trying to take a CR that has been proposed by the Republicans, which is 7 weeks more to negotiate the completion of the appropriations bills. We talked with Congressman Bost about that in the 12 o'clock hour. The Democrats said, we're not doing your 7-week CR. We want a 4-week one, and they want to stick a bunch of their policies in that CR, and that's just not going to happen. So does it look like the government's going to shut down? At this point, yes, it still does. A quick break right now. Paul Mauro is going to join us when we return. He's a Fox News contributor, retired NYPD inspector and attorney, and has been covering the assassination of Charlie Kirk and that court case, the investigation, everything that has led up to it. We're going to get an update from Paul Mauro when we return on that, as well as his thoughts on that incredibly tragic Michigan church shooting that took place this weekend. Quick break. Paul Mauro next. Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com is the website. Please consider shopping at Michael's Flooring Outlet for flooring for your new renovation project for the office that you are going to put beautiful luxury vinyl plank in and get rid of that old carpet that was hard to keep clean and maintain. Michael's Flooring Outlet is excited to work with you. We've been excited to pair and partner with them for decades now here on 97.1. The Smart Strand Mohawk Silk line of carpet, if you're thinking about installing some new fresh carpet, boy, that really brings a house into that modernity of just clean, crisp, and cozy, especially going into the fall, being able to enjoy brand new carpet in your home. It's really nice. It's going to feel luxurious, of course, and you're not going to overpay when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've got 3 locations for you to shop in St. Charles County, West County, also in Darien Prairie. But you can go online right now, start researching products. You can request an estimate directly from their website. You can also read reviews from many customers right here in the bi-state area who have chosen to use Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloor.com.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
All right, the YouTube live chat poll today is, should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards? Couple comments that I'm going to highlight here on our YouTube. Betsy says yes, no doubt on this poll. Officer Gary says yes, not only physical standards, psychological standards also. What do you think about this question? Should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards? Let us know and chime in. We will be highlighting your comments throughout the show as usual. 1:31, this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. From Collinsville to Chesterfield, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
crimes in the past, right? And we've seen church shoot-ups before. This isn't the first. This is the first that I've seen or that I recall against the Mormon church. That has not been seen. But then again, hatred is hatred. And unfortunately, these crimes continue to happen, and they're on the rise since 2021, especially against Christian churches that we've seen. So unfortunately, the FBI currently is doing their investigation. The family is cooperating. So that's doing search warrants and, conducting their interviews and seeing what they can find. But right now, the motive, pure hate.
The motive is pure hate. And boy, are we unfortunately starting to see this more and more in our country. That was former FBI supervisory agent Jack Jupin on Fox. Let's get to our guest, excited to bring back to the show. Paul Mauro joins us once again, a Fox News contributor, retired NYPD inspector, attorney, and founder of the opsdesk.org. Paul, welcome back. Thanks for being with us here this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
I want to talk to you about two stories, big stories that are taking place right now. But I want to start with this Michigan church terrible tragedy this weekend. Can you tell us what we know about this perpetrator? Of course, it seems to me like on the outside looking in, everybody, the first thing they want to know is who this guy votes for. I would assume it's a little more complicated and intricate than that.
Yeah, it always is. And the fact that it hasn't just leaped out as to where he stands politically, I think should give us all pause, because it does not seem to ground, at least as far as the facts that are publicly released that I have access to, it doesn't seem to ground in some sort of a political animus. It seems to be more religious. The only sort of threat vectors I see coming from this guy seem to be directed specifically at the Mormon church. And there's some reporting somebody who was canvassing door to door for the church, knocked on his door, said why he was there, and this guy, this is a previous incident, lit up like crazy against the Mormon church. He seemed to have some real bone to pick with them. I assume his family might know if this was such a deep aspect of his personality, but right now that seems to be all we have, that he seems to have really had a grudge against the Mormon church for some reason.
Yeah. I want to ask you on a broad level, with your time being an NYPD inspector, of course, you serve as an attorney as well. I have to think that there is a mental state that these people who are on kind of the political commentary side, people are motivated by hate, but there has to be a mental state that is susceptible to the kind of dwelling that it takes to hate somebody so much that you would do something that normal people would never even fathom doing. Do we have a mental health crisis in our country right now?
I know we say that, and I think that I am willing to buy into that to the extent that I think that, let's say, young millennials and Gen Z who were locked down during COVID and who were very, very internalized, sitting in their homes at most looking at a computer screen, and were not socialized in school the way they probably should have been during crucial formative years. I can buy that. That much I will go into. In terms of whether or not we have a mental health crisis, quote unquote, that's any different from any other mental health issues we ever had in the past, I'm not qualified to say, and I'm not sure that I've seen anything compelling in that regard. I think the internet likely does isolate us and exacerbate inclinations that we have. So I guess there is that. But, we've had the internet now for a very long time. It's at least, 3 decades or so. And, I don't know that the recent spate of stuff that we're seeing is necessarily caused by that. So I don't know. I guess that's a long way of saying I don't know. But I do definitely see it among young kids who were locked away for formative years, I think, quite speciously. We didn't have to go as draconian as we did. Elements of our society just really seem to buy into the idea that we should all be walking around in moon suits, and a lot of them would still have us doing it. And, that's not healthy for any generation, and I fear for what's to come as those kids come of age, because I don't think they're very well prepared.
Yeah, that's very well said. Paul Mauro with us right now, Fox News contributor, retired NYPD inspector and attorney. I want to talk a little bit about Tyler Robinson. There has been a preliminary hearing. I'm not sure of the specifics of what you call the actual title of what we experienced here already, as he has been arraigned, and we're going into the process of a prosecution that involves a state charge that could levy a death penalty. I mean, from the outside looking in, as a completely novice individual looking at the evidence that's been presented, it looks like they've got a really strong case against him. But of course, it's never that simple. And I would imagine the death penalty charge elevates the situation even more. How do you feel about the prosecution of this case going into where we are at this moment?
I think you have to feel good. And just to clarify, and I don't blame you for this because it's confusing to a lot of us, including someone like me who's steeped in these issues. He actually hasn't been arraigned.
Oh.
It's a Utah law is quirky. He actually hasn't had, the way you'll know he's been arraigned, which means he's formally charged, is that you'll get his plea deal. You'll get his plea, not guilty or guilty, which we haven't gotten yet. In fact, we're a ways away from that. You get that much quicker in most states, but you're arraigned within 24 hours here in New York State. That doesn't happen in Utah. There's a whole protracted process, but I get it because a lot of us I've been looking up Utah law to try to explain it. But you're absolutely right. The evidence here is very, very sound, very, very compelling. You've got all this digital stuff, which these days really compels a jury. And then you've got DNA, which is the slam dunk for juries these days. So what questions are left? Well, can he play the sort of Kohlberger card, which dragged things out for 3 years? And then at the end of it, when tempers have cooled and the memories are fading, then sort of bargain for his life because you don't ever know what a jury is going to do. And procedurally all along, you're not only dragging it out, but you're attacking everything the prosecution and the police did, looking for some constitutional claim or procedural claim to hang your objections on so you can knock out key evidence. And we saw that in Kohlberger, and they went all the way up to the line, tried everything under the sun, all of it completely flimsy. Judge wasn't having it, and finally, after 3 years, they bargained for his life. I think that's likely, if I'm sitting with a defense, that's about as good as you could do here. So I think that's probably what you're looking at. But, it goes to your previous question, which is this guy is very, I think, emblematic of the sort of cognitive opening that I think you were alluding to, that people get to a certain state. That was the term cognitive aperture that psychologists from I was doing counterterrorism hung on it. And it just really came down to the idea that people were locked in their own little worlds, very, very small, online all day, every day. That was all that they got. And through that cognitive aperture, bad messages get fed. At the time, we were dealing with primarily ISIS doing it, sort of purposely, cognizantly. But it seems to be out there because somehow or other, this guy picked up the idea that murdering Charlie Kirk was a viable option. And he doesn't seem very shaken by that. You don't really hear anything about any remorse. Not that he would necessarily say it so soon, but he really does seem to have been utterly convinced that this was the move forward. And that's the fearsome thing I go back to relative to young kids coming online who are getting some really, really bad messages. Let's hope convicting him, convicting Mangione, and others who think that they operate with pure rectitude in this area. Let's hope that serves a message, sends a message, I guess, and serves as an example to people that are thinking similarly.
We're listening to Fox News contributor Paul Mauro right now on the Tyler Robinson case, the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk. There are a lot of conversations, Paul, on the internet about a possible conspiracy. Maybe Tyler's not even the right guy. Do you pay any of those commentary, lines of thought? Do you pay that any mind?
No, I don't. I've been in the middle of these investigations and seen, maybe just because I've been on the other side of it and seen some of the things that are thrown out and your jaw drops. I can remember the New York Times printing stuff about us that I couldn't. And in fact, they'd interviewed people in the task force that I was in and just chose to ignore it and printed what they wanted to print because it worked for them politically. So I've really learned to tune a lot of that out. One of the things that people always suppose in instances like this when they float these sort of conspiracy theories is that there is the ability for a task force of 10, 20, 30 people working on something, the ability for them to operate in perfect cohesion regarding creating a conspiracy, marketing a conspiracy, keeping their mouth shut, and sticking to it. And that's just virtually impossible, literally impossible, I should say. It doesn't happen. You can't keep two people on the same page in these investigations. Everybody's got their idea about how it should go, et cetera. They all want to solve it more than anything else. There will be substantive disagreements here. Like, for instance, I'm sure there was some dissent about whether or not they should look to arrest a roommate. because the feeling likely is that'll give us more leverage. But it looks like the roommate is fully cooperating. The case would likely be, even if it was sort of prosecutable, it might not be wonderfully strong and it might not be wonderfully serious unless, there's something I don't know and he conspired. But short of that, they have him right where they want him. He's cooperating. He's doing what they want. But I'm sure there are people in there saying, no, arrest him too. Put the charges on him so that we have better ownership of him. Reasonable minds inside of prosecution can disagree on things like that. But as of now, the only thing that I see that's even remotely compelling is that Tyler Robinson did it. He bragged about it to his roommate. The roommate somehow or other didn't see that Tyler engraving bullets and carrying on the way he apparently was a real red flag. And then once apprised of the fact that Tyler confessed, the roommate did not come forward to the police. Prosecutable? Probably. Worth it? Maybe not if you have him as a witness. That, to me, is the universe of evidence right now.
That's a great insight. We're speaking with Paul Mauro. Last question I have for you is I know that there are people who maybe emulate what Charlie Kirk does on some different scale with maybe some different details. There is a concern about people's safety and speaking out, and that there might be copycats out there. Is there a way that law enforcement, as the FBI, local law enforcement, when other people are picking up where Charlie Kirk left off at, university stops around the country, is there a common sense way to anticipate something like this from a copycat happening that we're actually investigating in our law enforcement agencies, federal and local?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think a smart question, because that's how we should be thinking is, okay, we had this awful, awful thing. Let the authorities do their thing. Keep an eye on it, of course. That's our role in a free society. We can bird dog them to make sure that nothing's being swept under the rug. But at the same time, let's look forward and make sure it doesn't happen again. I don't think we do enough of that sort of thinking in this country. But that said, yeah, and it's happening. I know a lot of people who are involved. I've gotten calls from people to go out and do site surveys and things like that. I generally pass it off to people I know, because they'll go out and charge for it and everything else. Some people will do it just for God and country. But yeah, and I think if you're in a university setting, then you really do have to be thinking this way. And I know this is the part where I am supposed to say, we're not intimidated. We're going to continue to hold events outside. And the First Amendment gives us that right, and we won't be shut down. But the practical issue is that the universities are not going to want to own that liability. And so to ensure that the universities don't completely back off of conservative voices on campus, I think that does have to be, and it looks like there is going to be a little bit more of a joint effort to make sure that security from the university is up to par. The events likely will be held indoors, which might limit attendance, but I think that that's unfortunately a reality here. But I think more importantly is the fact that I think that there's a cognizance now that the sort of Antifa showing up to make sure that the conservative doesn't even get a chance to take the mic, as we've seen in places like Berkeley, where Antifa shows up to try to burn down the venue because they don't want to hear what a speaker is going to say. I don't think that's going to be brooked anymore. I don't think that's going to be countenanced. I think that you're going to see better enforcement there, which should have been there all along.
Yeah.
And the universities have not done that, to their shame.
Amen. Well, you have such a calming voice in all of this and sensibility about it, and we always appreciate you sharing some of your afternoon with us. Paul Mauro, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Anytime.
Sounds good. Bye-bye. Fox News contributor, retired NYPD inspector and attorney, founder of the opsdesk.org. You can follow him on X at Paul D. Mauro. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Get Ryan back in here. The YouTube live chat poll: should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards? Yes or no? We heard the announcement from Pete Hegseth, and he's very, very proud to say everything's going back to the highest of standards and everybody will have to meet the same ones. How do you feel about that? We'll be right back.
From border security to school choice, the Constitution to the culture war. Made in America. Heard in the Midwest. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you are still healthy and can qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors, For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you, not the government.
When you're injured on the job, you need more than just a workers' comp lawyer. When you need a fighter, you need us. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. For the people. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Tony La Russa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet, first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Range. It's the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. The YouTube poll, should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards, yes or no? Ryan, you just read some comments in the time check earlier about this poll. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I would like to make a lot of jokes and be like, no, I think there's lots of different standards for people of different genders and ages. But I mean, it seems pretty straightforward to me that this is one that you just say yes, all combat military members, because the key word there is combat military members. Because if you're doing a different job in the military, you may not have to be as combat ready in the same way. But if you need to be combat ready, you got to be combat ready. So that means yes to this poll.
You know there are no female Navy SEALs?
Yeah, of course I knew that.
Did you know there are no female Navy SEALs?
Yep.
I mean, I would think that that's the highest standard. Yeah. There might be, I'm thinking like Green Berets or some other individual special ops groups that exist that need to be, basically better than human to do with the things that they do. There are a lot of reasons why it's complicated to have men and women in combat together. And I'm not ready to say that women don't belong in combat, but I don't understand anybody that would articulate that a job like combat would ask less of women than it would ask of men. So if the ask is the same, then the standard should be the same. Yeah. If you have to be able to achieve a certain goal, defeat a certain obstacle, complete a certain kind of mission, it takes what it takes. You probably have to be able to scale a certain height of fence. You have to be able to pull yourself up a certain amount of times. And if you have men or women who cannot meet those standards, it would put in peril the other men and women who have met those standards in order to compensate for the lack of ability. So it's not personal. I have a feeling that the standards that were reset today by Pete Hegseth probably caused some men to be concerned too.
Heck yeah. Yeah, he was calling out fat generals. He called them all home. Hey, you guys are all coming home for a meeting. And then he did that. You got to think, if you're a little overweight, if you're like a general who's been in service for a long time, you're in your 60s, you're like, whoa, wait a second now. I mean, seriously, you got to be a little worried. I do wonder, as and this is a hypothetical, but for me, it's actually, let me separate these things for a second, actually, before I say that. I have cystic fibrosis, so the draft has never been a concern for me. I can't be drafted because I have a chronic illness. And it's a genetic one. It's not even one like that I could say, well, I developed it. I always had it, so there's no doubt about it. So it's never been an issue for me. But I wonder now, if you were ever to institute the draft, which is a different topic, and I wonder if we ever would even still do the draft, because times are different than they were in the 70s and before. But if you were to institute the draft now and there's a transgender ban on military service, could you just say, if you're a guy, could you just say, I'm a girl? and then be immediately barred from the draft. Like, I think you might be able to do it. I think we would see that. It's just a random hypothetical that I just was rolling around in my mind.
Which it's the scenarios that can roll around in our mind when we're thinking about these things are absurd.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where we are.
Yeah.
Except for today, Pete Hegseth said we're not there anymore.
He's getting the military back to being what you expect the military to be. You don't change it into something else.
Wildly exceptional.
For no reason. The military is intended to be exactly what he's talking about. And that's what so much of the stuff with the Trump administration is, you have these kind of big personalities that are saying these things, so they sound radical in the face of a society that's being very progressive, but what they're saying is really normal. They're just getting it back to the place where it's just normal. And so it's not controversial, but it sounds controversial because we're so unused to hearing it.
Yeah, I don't understand at all. Like in my reality where I live, I don't understand why this is controversial. The thing that I find to be interesting about this is that I don't really feel, maybe it's because the news story is the news cycle is super, super full right now, specifically with the government shutdown, which is a huge story. While that does affect the American public, it is a political story. So if you're not interested in politics, Ryan, yesterday our poll was something like, how are you going to feel if the government shuts down? Blame Republicans, blame Democrats, or I really couldn't care less. It was like 37% said I couldn't care less of our audience.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And these are people who engaged.
Yeah.
So
Most of the rest of them wanted to blame Democrats.
Well,
but the fact that you were somebody who's listening to political talk radio, taking the time to go to a YouTube channel and vote in a poll like that, to say that over a third of the people are like,
yeah. Well, that's a great spot, a great little capture of where we are in America, because when this story comes up, it comes up so often now because they do these CRs that, we'll extend it by 6 months, we'll extend it by a year. And then it comes back around and it's the same story again, that people don't care anymore. So when the government shuts down, that used to be this big poker chip for Democrats, and the media would carry their water and say, well, anytime the government shuts down, we're going to make a huge deal about it and make you think that it's the end of the world. And then second, we're going to blame Republicans. And I don't think either one of those things really work anymore. And Trump's taken full advantage of that. He is full art of the deal right now with the government shutdown stuff, saying, okay, you either keep the government open but on our terms, or we're going to shut the government down and reduce the size of the federal government. Either one, we're okay with. And now, Democrats, it's in your court.
Brad, do you think all combat military members should have the same physical standards?
Absolutely. I think it was General Patton said that you don't win wars by dying for your country. You win wars by making the other guy die for his. And what Pete Hegseth is doing here is he's recreating the military into a lethal fighting force. He's making war fighters. And if you can meet the standards, great, jump online. I wouldn't want to go to war with somebody that couldn't carry me out. And that's kind of what I think they're looking for in this.
Well, we're asking you to come vote. We'd love to have your thoughts on this. Should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards? Yes or no? A couple comments that we haven't featured here. Did you unstar yours?
I did.
Okay,
yeah, these
good.
are all fresh.
Doug said, I don't expect males and females to have the same fitness capabilities. I do expect combat soldiers to have the same fitness capabilities regardless of gender. Correct. It's not discriminatory. It's actually as inclusive as it can be. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, where you go to church, if you go to church, what your skin color is, what your gender is. Here's what you have to be able to do. Can you do it? Let's go. I think Doug makes a great point.
And if you're saying that's gender discriminatory, then what you're saying is, I identify the difference between a man and a woman.
We will be doing X's and Y's at 2:30 on the Annie Fry Show. We'd love to know your questions about what men might think from the lady's standpoint. Why do you fill in the blank, or the opposite? Women can certainly ask those questions, and men as well. It's a very simple thing, the understanding of difference between men and women. Why is this controversial? It doesn't matter why it's controversial. It's been controversial now for, what would you say, 12 years, 15 years maybe, that we've been asking this question and kind of been shushed into not saying anything about it. It's been talked about enough now that I'm kind of taking the temperature of the room, and I'm thinking, I don't think people are that worked up about what Pete Hegseth said today. What a sign of the times that is. Go vote. Leave a comment. We'll be right back.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Stewart's American Mortgage, phone call or text message at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Call my friend Stewie. He is I'm a 2-time customer of his, and he helps me anytime I've got a financial question about markets or borrowing money or invest, whatever it is. I reach out to him, and he's always incredibly helpful. He'll be the same to you, and that number, 314-324-4440, is the same number that I call or text when I have my own question for him. If you're thinking about a new mortgage for a home that you want to purchase, or if you're thinking about a mortgage refinance on the current home that you have, you want to tap into some of that equity that has grown at your current residence, or maybe lower the rate from a couple of years ago when they were at their highest highs, this is a smart phone call to make. A bagel loan comes with $0 in closing costs. So when you go to close that mortgage, be it a brand new mortgage or a refinance, it's not going to cost you anything. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. Quo lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? Quo automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With Quo's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions and use those insights to level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with Quo. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/free and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's quo.com/free. QUO.com/free.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Side says it's up to the other side. Lisa Brady, Fox News, as Congress counts down to a possible government shutdown.
If they decide to vote it down tonight, they're going to be the ones that have to explain at midnight tonight why the government is shut down.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune says Senate Democrats want a laundry list of items attached to a proposed 4-week spending bill instead of ironing out policy differences at a later date.
We are not going to be held hostage by the Democrats for more than $1 trillion in new spending and all kinds of other items on their liberal wish list.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer accuses Republicans of trying to bully Democrats by refusing to negotiate issues including health care funding. The House passed a 7-week spending bill, which can't advance in the Senate without bipartisan support. A new deal with a pharmaceutical giant is intended to lower drug prices for Americans.
Under a deal reached between the Trump administration and Pfizer, the drug company will provide many of its drugs to the federal government at the same lower prices they're sold in Europe and other developed nations.
In terms of pricing, it's going to be great for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. It's going to be great for everything because your medicine costs are coming way down.
Announcing the deal in the Oval Office with top health officials, the president also launched Trump RX, a website where Americans will be able to buy drugs directly from drug makers. President Trump says additional agreements with other pharmaceutical companies are expected in the upcoming weeks.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says the era of politically correct is over at the Pentagon.
No more identity months.
DEI offices, dudes in dresses.
He and the president making that clear to hundreds of top military officials summoned to a base in Virginia and suggesting anyone not comfortable with new policy should resign. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Our temperatures are good, 10 degrees above average, but at least the humidity is low. Plenty of sunshine. We should top out at about 88 today. Partly cloudy skies will fall back into the upper 70s fairly quickly this evening once the sun goes down, 63. Wednesday, partly sunny, 86. Thursday and Friday, still low humidity, sunny and 88. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Martin.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ring.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, so earlier in the day, there's been a lot of news. First of all, Pete Hegseth and the Department of War, what did he do? Like summon basically all the generals and officials across the country to a big announcement. And it was basically to say, we're the Department of War now, we're going to act like it.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided they're going to return standards to not really be gender specific to the male standards. That's going to be for everybody. How's that going to affect our military? Well, we shall wait and see. After that, President Trump from the Oval Office, he spoke at the Pete Hegseth thing, and he spoke a long time. Did you watch a lot of that?
No, I actually just watched some of Trump speaking. I didn't see any of the other parts.
And then he made it back to the White House for a very big announcement.
In addition, Pfizer is agreeing to provide some of their most popular current medications to all consumers at heavily discounted prices of anywhere between 50 and even 100%, and that's off the price. And in some cases, even more than that. These drugs will be available for direct purchase online at a website operated by the federal government. We're also announcing that moving forward, all new medications introduced by Pfizer to the American market will be sold at the reduced most favored nation costs. So we'll be paying essentially what other countries are paying.
How big of a deal is this, do you feel?
It remains to be seen. He's made a deal. Now, the only specific that I've found with the drug stuff is that with Pfizer, any new medication that comes out from Pfizer will be subject to the same price that we would be paying as Europe pays, which is huge because they pay so much less. We subsidize 70% of all drug costs in the entire world, we pay. So that's good, but I'm sure, just like everybody else, I'm already on medications that exist, and that doesn't affect the ones I'm on. So what does it do for the medications that I'm on?
That does include medications that people are. It's not only something that starts afterwards. I just want to be clear.
No, there is something for those, but I don't know the specifics of how that works yet, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they talked about it a lot in the Oval Office, and they gave examples. They picked, he said 4 at random. I doubt they were at random. Medications, and the significance of the decrease in cost that it was going to benefit from people. I mentioned earlier in the show about West Wing, and I've been watching this, and if you've never watched it before, or if you watched it and you really liked it, you should go back and watch it again. They're talking about, there's one episode in season 3 where Sam Seaborn, who is Rob Lowe, he's so cute, is writing. He's the deputy director of communications. He writes speeches for the president. So he's incredibly articulate, he's incredibly thoughtful, and he's very good at words. And it's an episode that talks about the State of the Union, but they talk about how do you get to the point where the State of the Union is a speech that is delivered, and then it's a big night or whatever, but how much work goes into something like that. And it's interesting because they have some line in there, and that episode was maybe 2 or 3 episodes, I think, after September 11th happened, which is another interesting part of the story, because the West Wing started a couple seasons before September 11th happened. And then they had to, you can't just pretend it doesn't happen in a hit TV show like that. But they're showing the polling that takes place after a big speech like that, and like, oh, this particular line that you delivered, it really, really hit well. And Rob Lowe's character says, you should have seen the one we cut. And he goes, and the person who's there covering him from like a Vanity Fair Variety or something is like, what line did you cut? He goes, we were going to cure cancer. And then the whole episode is about how they were going to put in the State of the Union to really push, in going into an election year, the excitement that would reach into the homes of people, the idea that they were going to cure cancer. And essentially, the reason they felt like they could say this is because the president President Bartlett had sat down at a meeting with some friends of his wife who is a doctor, and they were talking about how there was some sort of new discovery that might lead to the cure of cancer. And I thought to myself, Joe Biden said in his State of the Union speeches 3 times that they were going to cure cancer. What else was there other than the speech where they were talking about curing cancer?
There's been nothing.
Nothing.
I think cancer still exists.
I think it does. I don't think that they've been discussing, the Democrats would. I remember when he said that, when Biden delivered that, I think it was in like the sped up, if you know what I mean, State of the Union that he gave, where they were talking about curing cancer, and he was talking like they were going to have it cured by the end of the speech. And we're all going, wait, what? This is on the table? We're that close to a cure for cancer, and we're just finding out now from Joe Biden, who's on Jesse Spano's caffeine pills?
What I'm realizing right now, even as we speak, is that his hack team of speechwriters probably were just watching The West Wing, which I didn't realize was a plot point in The West Wing.
I can't stress enough how much any of you people who have spare time should watch The West Wing and ask yourself if that's how Joe Biden's 4 years were done.
Do you think that the people who work in the White House, not this one, because this one is different, but the people who work in the White House, Biden's, Obama's, even W. Bush's, they all thought that it had this sexy kind of glamour thing like The West Wing.
They call it Hollywood for ugly people.
Yeah.
That's what people in D.C. call it. Or maybe
working in government or the White House.
Yeah, I mean,
generally.
if you're a federally elected person and you're in the game, I mean, I've seen behind the scenes to an extent on some of this. It is enamoring. It's bigger than any of the individual parts, including President Trump. It's incredible to be a part of it. I would think it would be intoxicating for people who crave power.
Yeah.
And so, like, a show like The West Wing, I haven't watched Veep. I've heard a lot of people say that it's a good show. I haven't done that. I watched House of Cards. That was an incredible show, and then it got so depraved in storyline that it was like, I don't know if I can stomach this. But I think it's good for people who are there in those positions to kind of have a romanticism about it, because that's, I think, love of country regardless of the side of the aisle you're on. And like when you're watching the Democrats in the late 90s and the turn of the millennium going into the 2000s be romantic about leftist Democrat policies that are going to help so many people, you're like, I could see what you're doing. And then if you have the power of the pen that's writing the script that romanticizes everything, they do a pretty good job of offering the counterpoint as well. But it's a Democrat who's in office, so of course that's going to be the lead. It just makes me think about how much of the political surface of what we can consume. Like I said before, we were going to go through the different headlines on the different outlets: Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC. So it still says here on Fox News, Hegseth unveils sweeping military overhaul, quote, era of Department of Defense is over. And then the caption of the photo is Warriors Unleashed. And I can just go down here and the top 3 stories that are underneath there, separate from the headline story. Top Dems deny they want shutdown, claim Trump using citizens as pawns. Mayor ditches Democrats, sides with Republican over soaring taxes and sanctuary battles. That's a New Jersey mayor. The New Jersey race is looking pretty crazy for a Republican to potentially take the governorship of blue New Jersey. Don't forget, Chris Christie was the governor of New Jersey, and as much as nationally Chris Christie gets made fun of, in the state of Illinois, I would take Chris Christie every single day in the governor's mansion. Every single day over J.B. Pritzker. And then the other story is Republicans block Hail Mary effort by House Dems to pass partisan funding bill. So those are stories about news stories that are out there right now. They probably have a hint of a right-leaning angle. CNN's headline, Trump says government is probably likely to shut down. It also, on the side, says Trump suggests that admin should use, quote, dangerous cities as training grounds for military. Now, does that strike you as something that is frightening? Is that a scare headline?
Yes.
Trump suggests that admin should use dangerous cities as training grounds for military.
That is intended to sound scary, for sure.
A couple bullet points down, it says Hegseth says he doesn't want, quote, fat generals and admirals.
Love it.
Did Hegseth say that?
Yeah, kind of.
Does America want fat generals and admirals?
Yeah. No.
Like you said about yourself earlier, not that fat.
A little fat's okay, especially if you're getting up there.
I don't know why this is on here, but there's also, it's funny that this is amazing. Showgirls at 30, why there's more to these costumes than meets the eye. And it's Jesse Spano from Showgirls. I don't know. I'm not clicking on that.
Just go ahead and click on it.
No, you can.
Share it.
CNN.com. CNN's going to be like, why was there a flood of traffic at 2:14 on Tuesday? Everybody's interested in
That's not a
stripper
news article.
Jesse.
Clickbait news.
It doesn't say ad on it like it should. And then MSNBC, Pete Hegseth's pitch to generals and admirals, even worse than expected.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other headlines, why the White House is resisting making a deal to avert a shutdown.
Oh.
I wonder if it's because the policies the Democrats are proposing suck.
Well, it was Speaker John Thune, when we took that press conference in the 1 o'clock hour, he said that they're trying to add $1 trillion in new spending, not just in spending.
This is a
They
simple.
want to add $1 trillion more to the current budget.
It's a simple no. It's a no.
Pretty easy.
Also on MSNBC, top right, MAGA's cancellation obsession continues as Trump allies rage over Bad Bunny's Super Bowl show. You weren't here yesterday. Ethan reported a little bit on Bad Bunny in Wiggins America yesterday. Any thoughts on him as the Super Bowl show?
I thought he just tore his Achilles tendon or something, so kind of surprised to hear that because I thought he had to cut his tour short. I don't know that much about Bad Bunny.
He cut his tour short from the United States because they were deporting people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it had to do with an injury. Maybe it was both. Or maybe one was a cover story.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. And I don't really know which one was the cover story.
Yeah, I don't either. I was going to leave that to you.
I said this yesterday. I'm going to say it again. I could not care less about Bad Bunny and the halftime show of the Super Bowl.
No.
It affects me zero.
It's a headline. that you go, oh, okay, that'll affect me when I'm watching the Super Bowl a tiny, tiny bit. And that's it.
Last year they had Kendrick Lamar. That's not for the masses. Now, tons of people like Kendrick Lamar. Are they trying to bring in a younger audience to the Super Bowl? Maybe. Okay. But it's like all of these choices. Is there a safe choice right now for halftime show?
Bad Bunny. Yeah, because he just got a lot of good PR from being in the new Happy Gilmore. So he's a really safe choice for everybody.
I don't think you understand how incredibly narrow what you just said.
No.
He did not know. What percentage, Brad, of our audience knows that Bad Bunny was Happy Gilmore's caddy in Happy Gilmore 2?
Prior to that statement, maybe 15%.
Oh my gosh. I would have said 1.5%.
No, but if they see him, they're going to see that he was in Happy Gilmore.
No, they're not.
I
saw Happy Gilmore.
I'll add
My
this.
son said to me, oh my gosh, that's Bad Bunny. And I didn't know who he was talking about, and I didn't know that he associated that with it until yesterday when I brought it up to him, and I still didn't know who Bad Bunny was.
But he's the safest one because you would see him, and you may not even know his name, but you'd go, oh, that's the guy from the new Happy Gilmore movie. And let me add this. It was the number one most streamed movie of all time.
In the history of Ryan Wiggins' hot takes, the most ridiculous one you've ever had.
No, it's not. I don't know anything about that guy's music. If you played anything from Bad Bunny, I wouldn't. Are you talking about safe like culturally?
Are you listening to this?
Because that's
right
the way
now?
I'm approaching it. Are you talking about safe that he wouldn't use language or culturally? Which one?
Which one are you talking about?
Culturally.
I'm talking culturally too.
Okay, just making sure.
He can cuss because all his songs are in Spanish, so people won't even know what he's saying.
Well, that's a different take on it. But my point is,
it's not a take.
Culturally, if you like Bad Bunny, great, you're going to like it. But if you don't, you're going to see it and associate it with Happy Gilmore, which you also like.
No.
Yes, you will.
Even.
People chime in.
Oh my gosh.
Online, agree with me or don't chime in. Those are your two choices.
Would you argue, Ryan, that I am in the mix, culture-wise? I'm kind of that age of someone that would probably know that that's Bad Bunny, like, in Happy Gilmore.
No, your opinion means nothing.
Thank you. That's what I thought you were going to say. I had zero idea until someone told me, until I probably saw it on Twitter, that was Bad Bunny in Happy Gilmore. Huge movie.
Correct.
Funny movie. I did not know. I did not connect at all that character was Bad Bunny. And I would imagine, looking at myself, that probably most people did not either.
And Ethan's 25 years old. Oh my gosh, we're not going to agree.
You
on
were
this
not
one,
invited
sure.
into this conversation.
I literally invited
Annie
him
has
into
given
the
me
conversation.
an open invite.
Yes,
anytime.
I am very disappointing
I'm disappointed in all of you
in this
because
entire
you're all
conversation. All right, let's get Ethan Sports and Local next, and we won't talk about Bad Bunny. I don't think. Maybe Ryan won't stop. We'll see. Don't go away. So Lutheran education, man, if you have thought about whether this could be a possibility for you, I want to encourage you, if you've got questions, to reach out and ask me about it. On the Annie Fry Show Facebook page, you can send me a private message, and I'll talk to you about my experiences. Lutheran education is accessible all across the bi-state region, 34 different elementary schools to choose from, 4 high schools as well. I can't say enough positive things about the experience that we are having with my son at the Lutheran high school he's going to, but that's the same one I graduated from. I'm so grateful for my Lutheran education. I'm so grateful for the people who have come together through the Lutheran Elementary School Association to make Lutheran education accessible to kids and to families all across the bi-state region. If you have considered Lutheran education, be sure to check out their website at lisastl.org. They offer help with special education in most of the schools. They support IEPs and special needs. They also have tuition assistance available for you as well. It is accessible. Just start with a Google search or go to lisastl.org.
If your kitchen's not even functional and you can't stand the look of your bathroom, stop just living around the problem. Let Lakeside Renovation and Design help you love your home again. From spa-like bathrooms to these beautiful, functional, custom kitchens to a finished basement, their in-house team over there at Lakeside, they're going to help bring any vision you have to life. They're going to walk you through every step of the process, the planning, the permits, all the things we don't like to do. They take care of it. You just have to dream. And they have financing options like 0 payments, 0% interest for 24 months. Schedule your free consultation today. It's lakesiderd.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hold up. Check it out.
Sports and local.
Ethan's hard left communist news.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ryan.
I remember that one.
Did you just make that after the comments that I just made?
No, I made that a week ago.
Out of spite?
No, I just knew that you would say something dumb.
Gotcha. And I love that you just associate far left news with dumb.
That's I mean, listen,
man,
you're on 97.1.
That's awesome. That is great. Well, the Cardinals season has wrapped up, folks. They finish the season with a 78-84 record.
Oh, but they were in it till the end, Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, until the fourth final game, technically. And yesterday and today, there were press conferences, end-of-season press conferences. Yesterday was President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak's final press conference, kind of putting a bow on his career, answering any questions about handling of things this year, looking back on just his time in the position with the Cardinals. And today was where a lot of the attention and the waiting was focused on, and that was the new president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom. He made basically it was his first time speaking to the public in that position about the direction that they want to go as an organization. And
do they want to make it better or worse? What did he say?
They want to make it better.
I don't know if we know the answer to that question because I can't believe anyone would be stupid enough to ask it. Can we get an Annie Fry Show representative in the next press conference with Chaim Bloom? I'd like to say.
Are you looking for more losses next year or less?
What a scoop!
I would love to be that person, but I don't know if, for the health of the show, if I would be the best person for it, which absolutely amazes me.
I would prefer to send Gary Vood.
Excuse me, Chaim Bloom. Gary Vood, old-timey reporter, 97.1, Annie Fry Show.
You could leave my name out of it.
Is the team going to be any better next year? Are you looking to make the team better or worse?
That's not... Well, I'm not going to say anything disparaging. Go on. More reporting from you.
You want to add some real sluggers? You want to add a couple of duds? This is the big leagues we're talking about here, Chaim.
You just let me know when you're done, and
He's
I'll pick
never
it back
done.
up.
He's never done.
You can go.
He's not done.
That's something that I've developed a skill for here, is learning to just pick back up into my serious news while Ryan just kind of says things.
Tell me about it.
So, yeah, the big thing that Bloom came out and said today is that they are not where they want the organization to be. I think everyone would agree on that. They kind of pointed out some of the things they're going to work towards. This is going to be, he used the word long-term as far as breaking down some of what they have right now to aim for bigger success down the road. Which means that it could be bumpy for a couple of years. There could be some players that fans really like that are going to get moved on from in the short term to make it better for the long term. So might get bumpier before it gets smoother, But overall, I thought the messaging today from Chaim Bloom was one that they have a plan in place to get things back in the right direction. Some of the things that they have already done, they have seen progress from as far as the minor league systems go and some of those things.
Quick Rick wants to know if they said, oh, we're just going to play them one game at a time.
No, that was not said. That was not said.
You're going to go out there
morning
and give it
by Chaim Bloom.
110%?
And
You guys going to go give it 110?
Things will work out.
And then the last thing I'll mention, they also asked the president of the club, Bill DeWitt, if what the payroll was going to be, if that had been discussed yet. And he said no, which I thought was really odd. He said that they hadn't discussed that yet with Chaim Bloom. So that kind of surprised me. But I guess still conversations to be had this upcoming offseason on what that looks like. Something else that he also mentioned as far as just the state of St. Louis and I guess talking about ticket sales, some of the things that are going to benefit in the long term, is the redevelopment for the vacant Millennium Hotel and how adding that in the next couple of years is going to be beneficial to the area. And it wasn't long ago, in fact, just last Friday, that redevelopment plan was finally approved by the Board of Aldermen. The measure will be covering a 4.2-acre property at 200 South 4th Street, which has sat empty for, man, that's crazy, nearly a decade now, between the Gateway Arch and Busch Stadium.
It used to have a tree growing out of the top of the
I think it might
roof.
still, actually.
No, I think they got rid of the tree.
Okay, all right. Alderman Rasheen Aldridge said the plan paves the way for mixed-use development that could create at least 50 jobs, boost tax revenue, and reestablish pedestrian-friendly connections in the area. The legislation calls for sustainable design, architectural standards that complement the arch, environmental cleanup, and compliance with minority business requirements. So that is the latest on that.
Can you get into a press conference with the Cardinals?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple questions that I would like to pass along to you.
Oh, boy. That makes me nervous.
One,
is it Ryan Wiggins asking or Gary Voot?
It doesn't matter. It's the question that matters.
Okay.
Selfless.
I would like to see, I think everybody would like to see, this is a selfless question, that the cotton candy would come in larger quantities because it's fluffy, it's airy.
And he also would like a lower sugar
It's
option.
something that you could eat a lot of and not really, it looks bigger than it is. I think that's something you should ask Chaim Bloom.
They did mention that their food service partner is Delaware North. And they mentioned that they are working on some food options that are going to be cheaper this year. I don't know what that looks like.
They talked a lot about understanding that ticket prices and food and parking and everything, that the expense to go to a game has been of concern, that they've been addressing it and are continuing to address it.
Yes. One of the things that they mentioned is that I think they said a third of ticket prices they expect to go down this year. They're planning on dropping, and the offset is that I think a few different seating options, I would assume probably suites and nicer areas, are going to be
like a progressive tax,
more expensive this year.
Yeah.
But that'll definitely help out some of those cheaper options too to get to a ball game, because I know a lot of people are frustrated with the price for getting to a Cards game these days. This past Sunday, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe signed a new U.S. House map into law as part of President Trump's plan to hold on to the Republican majority in next year's congressional election. And just a day later, the Democratic National Committee announced a new investment to help Missourians on the ground obtain the required signatures necessary to put the new map to a statewide vote. The U.S. House districts were redrawn across the country after the 2020 census to account for population changes, but Missouri is the third state this year to try to redraw districts for partisan advantage. The DNC stated that it will support the Missouri Democratic Party by hiring organizing staff to run signature collection efforts statewide, supporting volunteer organizing efforts to collect signatures across the state, and deploying a volunteer organizing team of 41,000 volunteers across the country to send texts to Missourians to sign the petition.
And that's why we need initiative petition reform, too.
All right. Thank you, Ethan.
You are very welcome, Annie.
We'll find out when we come back the difference between boys and girls. You're going to want to stay tuned to hear that. Ryan's going to explain it.
I'm going to learn.
X's and Y's. Trisha's going to join us as well when we come back. Don't go away. RulerFoods.com. Please consider shopping at Ruler Foods if you're looking for great ways to save money on your groceries. Ruler Foods has savings every day on the different types of things that you shop for, the brands that you love. You're going to go to Ruler Foods. You're going to find a whole lot of them right there. If you haven't gone in yet, don't delay on experiencing what Ruler Foods has to offer. You've got one in your neighborhood, go in. There's so many Annie Fry Show listeners that have made Ruler Foods their new one-stop shop for saving on their grocery bill. You could become the next one. There's a ton of them in the bi-state region, and if you just go to rulerfoods.com, you can find the one closest to you, including a list of all of the things that you can save on, especially now while they are discounted. Strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries, $1.99 per container. Kroger pork butt roast, $1.49 a pound, and Kroger Grade A large eggs, just $1.99. So you might want to stock up. Don't forget you can have these savings shipped directly to your door as well. Ruler Foods does delivery. Learn more at rulerfoods.com.
Hey, what's up, flies? This is David Spade.
Dana Carvey.
Look, I know we never actually left, but I'll just say it. We are back with another season of Fly on the Wall.
Every episode, including ones with guests, will now be on video. Every Thursday, you'll hear us and see us chatting with big-name celebrities.
And every Monday, you're stuck with just me and Dana. We react to news, what's trending, viral clips.
Follow and listen to Fly on the Wall everywhere you get your podcasts.
Are you nearing retirement and don't know if you have enough money saved to retire? That is scary. Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Well, when it comes to retirement planning, the trusted team at Financial and Tax Architects are the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And that's what you want. You want to retire with confidence. Now, they offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. They hold these at colleges over the St. Louis area and in Illinois. No cost, no obligation, just learning. And at this class, you learn how to avoid costly mistakes, how to maximize your income, how to reduce taxes in retirement. So call them today, 314-888-5101, or visit fta-ria.com and take the first step toward a smarter retirement. 314-888-5101.
My best friend Jenny came over for coffee. Said it's cold enough in here to play hockey. Well, my furnace broke and it's already late. Call Jerry Kelly cause they're open till 8. JerryKelly.com. They'll be here quick and have you feeling good. JerryKelly.com. Cause your furnace will be running like it should. They're certified technicians, I've been told. Will help you when it's hot and help you when it's cold. JerryKelly.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. JerryKelly.com.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish@wish.org.
Should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards? That's our YouTube live chat poll of the day. This comment is from Jackie. It says, male and females have varying muscle to fat ratios. Duh. But they should both need to perform at a standardized level of fitness. That's how I'm answering the question. How do you answer this question? We'll get the results at the end of this show, which is in about 20 minutes, so stick around for that. It is 2:35. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Consistently right.
It's a ritual.
97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative. X's and Y's.
Well, welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We like to talk into depth of the difference between men and women. Of course, it's been a political tug of war for years now, and I keep hearing these stories popping up. There's a softball player. Where was it? In Minnesota or somewhere. There's a male softball player who's just like striking everybody out in softball. And, you know, at the beginning of this, when we started covering this pretty closely a couple years ago with the trans woman athlete story, a lot of times what I heard was, how often is this really happening? And we're seeing that it's happening quite a bit. And for every one time it happens, that's an opportunity that a female doesn't get to compete at a basic level. And our YouTube poll for today, should combat military members have to meet the same physical standards, is the question about the difference between men and women. That's what a lot of people are saying politically about it. So you can answer an X's and Y's question today by going to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and telling us, do you think that everybody, regardless of gender, should have to meet those same standards? All right, let's start with Brad. You said you had one you wanted to start with?
Yeah, and this is totally hypothetical, not real situation at all, ever. Okay, so hypothetically, if your husband says that he was at the store and he saw a woman that looked just like you, and you ask back to him, was she pretty? What's the correct answer?
Yes. Wait. Oh, shoot. Not as pretty as she was a worse looking version of you.
No.
No?
No, just say she was hot.
But then you're looking at another woman and saying she's hot.
If he looked at a pretty woman and thought of me, I don't see the problem.
Okay. I don't know that I could do that. I don't think I can get away with that. I think the correct answer to that question in my household would be, she looked like you, but not as good.
No. Trisha?
I'm kind of with Ryan on this.
Thank you.
I feel like this is a subject you don't like. Men are very leery of touching anyway. I think respectful, like a partner in a relationship. Like, I'm not like, oh man, I saw this guy today and he was hot. But if I saw a guy and I was like, oh, that looks like my husband, and I decided to tell my husband and he asked that, I'd be like, yeah, but he's nowhere near as good looking as you.
Why?
Like, that would be my response.
Why would you do that in the first place?
What's that?
Well, maybe you didn't think about it. Maybe you just thought,
That's the likely explanation.
Yeah, that's how guys. Yeah, it's like I just noticed this girl and she reminded me of you at the store. It would just kind of like come out in conversation. It wouldn't be like.
Yeah, I mean, I can see a scenario where I see somebody that I think looks like my husband, and I'm like, oh, that guy looks like you, but not as good looking, and you're kind of playing a little game, just being flirty.
If my husband said that to me, I would not at all be like, what's the matter with you? Like
No.
that. Why? I don't understand why. I mean, if you don't, well, I'll speak in first person. I don't have any concern about my husband and a wandering eye. So I don't know why, if he said something like that to me, that I would like look for entrapment in the situation. That would not be a sign of a healthy relationship for me, but that everybody's circumstances are different.
I remember back when I was dating my wife, and this was before Facebook and everything, or maybe it was brand new, but I was looking at a newspaper article once, and I was like, oh, this woman on the front of the page looks like you. And I gave it to her. I wasn't thinking about it, just thought it looked like her. And I gave it to her, and she's like, And then we turned, and like it says, oh, story continued on page 5 or whatever. So you turn back, and the other pictures, I was like, oh, no. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I said that. I did not turn to page 5 yet when I said that. I apologize.
Ryan, you got a question?
Yeah. How often, if you're talking to a guy, like you don't know him, you have no relationship with this guy, how often do you assume, if he's talking to you, that his intentions are either negative or that he wants something out of the conversation?
What do you mean, what do you mean, like sexually?
Yes.
As a married woman?
Yes.
You can tell.
You now.
You know.
You can always tell?
Pretty much.
What
Yeah.
if somebody is just talking to you because they're friendly? Like,
Then
can
you can
that
tell.
can that ever happen?
Yeah. All the time.
Okay.
Most people.
Most people.
Most of the time.
Are
Okay.
you constantly being sexually propositioned?
I can't say because I can't tell.
I can tell you.
I assume always yes.
I can answer that for you.
No, it's not as often as you would think.
But isn't there a lot of gray area where you're like, oh, yeah, it's that one for sure, and that one's definitely not? But
It's what kind of circumstances? Like, I'm not putting myself in places where people wouldn't understand my life.
uh-huh.
And think that I am available. So in the rare occasion where I might be in a place where people don't know anything about me or my life or whatever, if I can tell, and I don't know how you feel about this, Trisha, it's very rarely, in my opinion, a man who is doing that is very interested in how much of your attention he can have. And how much of your affection he can gain in a conversation. That's probably the full extent of it. It's not like I want to take this thing all the way around the bases, so to speak. It's men are looking to see what they can pull off as far as
how flirty they are, and
Yeah.
how I think attention is exactly right.
Yeah.
The level of like, look at me.
Can I
you
get her to
from-
flirt back with me?
Yes.
Yes, I understand now. Thank you.
Do you?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that solves that.
The tone of your voice has me concerned.
Oh, I think I've figured it all
I think he might
out
be
now.
flirting with you.
Trisha, you have a question?
Yeah. Dudes, do you just drive around and judge other people's yards? Like, are you like, that grass is brown?
Do I judge other people's yards?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do I go out looking to do it? No. It has to be like really bad. It has to catch my eye. Like, oh no, that's not good.
Do you feel like you do that because you're a man or just because the yard's that bad?
Oh, it's because I'm a man. Because then, like, my next thought, my yard looks way better than that one.
Man, I don't want to do this, but I have started doing this.
Did you get your AARP?
You know why? Here's the progression of how that happened. I don't care about my yard at all, but I know other people do. So I had to start caring about my yard
And
to
now
make
you
sure
care about
that
your yard.
at least keep it at 50%, where nobody thinks much about it. Maybe they're not impressed, but okay. Then I started noticing yards that weren't at that level and thinking, ooh, I know where they are, and now I care.
See, I couldn't care less
That's how
about
it
it.
starts.
But we just bought sprinklers at our house because I think my husband took that turn, the we care about the yard turn.
You got them
in
to
life.
run through them, but now it's about the yard.
Grass stained New Balances? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got
it's-
some.
Buckle up, Trevor.
Annie, do you care about yards?
No.
Right.
I am too busy to care as much as I should about my own yard. So
You did bring up another important question, though, and I didn't have this on my list. How much do grown women love running through the sprinkler?
So much, Ryan. So much.
1 to 10.
11.
Okay.
Yeah, it is so exciting when you get to the point where you order the sprinkler and you know it's because you finally reached adult womanhood where you get to just like run through it as much as you want. Nobody tells you you can or can't.
I don't know if Trisha's really speaking for women.
All women everywhere.
Almost everywhere. Brad, did you have another question?
Yeah. This one's a little more serious. Did you have proposal expectations before you were proposed to? Did you have expectations of how big or how important or who had to be there or stuff like that?
Yes.
Before?
I had one. Ask my dad. That was the only one I cared about.
That's another good topic.
Did you ask Katie's dad?
I did, and it was difficult because
Yes.
they lived far away. I rarely ever saw
man.
them. So I had to really plan how to do that.
How did it go?
We were out to eat, and for whatever reason, it was like God inspired. All the women and other guys who happened to be at the table, because it was like a lot of family, all happened to leave at the same time to go to the bathroom. If it was all the women, you'd think, oh, that's what women do. But it was like everybody but me and her dad we were left there at the table. And I was like,
Where were you?
we were just at a restaurant.
What kind of restaurant?
It was a Brazilian steakhouse. They were cutting the
Was
meat
it
on
full
a
of
skewer.
Brazilian women?
No, they had all the meat on a skewer, and they were cutting it finely at our table.
As in,
And then once
job well done?
And the waiter wasn't there either, cutting meat. So I'm like, uh-oh, now I'm sitting here with John. What am I going to do?
What'd you say to him?
I asked him, I was like, look, I don't know if I'm going to have an opportunity to ask this, but I want to marry your daughter.
Over
and
skewered meat?
I want your permission to do so. And he laughed, and he was like, okay. And she still brings that up. She, every couple of years, tell me again how my dad reacted.
Okay.
He laughed and said, if you want to.
What about you, Brad?
I definitely asked my father-in-law, and it was difficult. And it was over breakfast. We went to a breakfast place.
Was Ryan
Did
there?
he know it was coming?
They're finally stealing
Yes,
meat.
because like I was not the person that was like, "Hey, let's get up early and go to breakfast." And I called him up and I was like, "Hey, I'd like to get up early and go to breakfast and ask you guys a question." And they're like, "Sure."
I took Katie's dad completely off guard. He
Man,
did not
my relationship was so difficult because we had to win over a lot of people because of the age difference between Terry and I, and God love her dad. He was the one that was kind of very instrumental in doing that because he saw how happy Terry was when we were together, and that warmed his heart to it. And so that helped me win over her brother and her mom. And so I took him out to breakfast and I said, "Hey, you guys always talk about how happy Terry is with me whenever I'm around, but that pales in comparison to how happy I am with her, and I would like to make her my wife and live and spend the rest of my life with her, but I won't do that without your blessing and your permission." And they said, "Yeah, absolutely." So
I think that was super heartfelt.
Should the mom have any say in it?
No.
What if the mom hates you?
I mean, I took them both.
Sorry, Mom. It's up to Dad. Sorry.
It's the patriarchy.
Yes, it is.
What was the original question?
Did you have expectations for
I've
proposals?
talked about this before, but I did not want it to be a public. Where and how big and how many people there? Yes, you and me. Done. That's what he did. My apartment.
What about asking Dad?
He did. He went to my dad's job at the radio station my dad was working at the time and met him there. And
Hold up a sign outside the window.
And no radio. Playing Lutheran music.
Playing catechisms.
At KFUO.
Is that John Cusack down there?
Even my dad would be like, "It's kind of weird."
I thought John Cusack was a major Hollywood star.
That's really funny for like 4 people, but I'm one of them. I'm very curious as to how that conversation went, but I haven't really asked much about it. I kind of feel like it's not my business.
Darn right, it's not. Trisha?
It's my
Brian's
business.
like, we're done with that conversation. Did that happen with you guys?
Yeah, Eddie asked my dad, but he so silly. He texted my dad and said, "Can I come over and talk?" My dad was like, "No, what do you want?"
Did he text him?
Yeah.
Oh no!
All right.
My dad was like, "Do not come over. It's fine." Like,
did he know what? Did your dad know what he was getting himself into?
yes, yeah. My dad knew what was going on and just didn't really want him to come over. So,
I'm in my underwear.
he's
What?
like,
Wait,
yeah,
so
you-
did he say yes?
Yeah, yeah. He
an
blessed it. They
an
had the
interesting
conversation, but.
Oh, man. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get the results to today's YouTube live chat poll. Should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards, yes or no? Let us know what you think. We'll be right back. CiviaLaw.com. Please consider reaching out to Todd and talking to him about establishing your trust, your estate plan, your powers of attorney, your will. How about avoiding probate, which can be very costly in both time and money? If something happens and it's not all taken care of ahead of time, Civia Law can help you not have to deal with the burdens of probate. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to talk to Civia Law so we can explain it. And if you call them right now at 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, they're both in Missouri and Illinois. If you reach out to them right now, you're going to be able to schedule a strategy session where they waive the fee, the $300 fee, to sit down and have that conversation. If you're one of the first 10 callers to call, mention my name. Schedule that appointment at your convenience, of course, at one of their locations in Illinois, Edwardsville, East Alton, Swansea, Centralia, and Mount Vernon, and in Missouri, Wentzville and Creve Coeur. 833-995-WILL. Call them, tell them Annie sent you, and save on that strategy session. Learn more at civialaw.com.
Join us October 23rd at Lit Cigar Lounge as we celebrate 25 years. Enjoy drinks from Lore Wine and Spirits, Old Dominick Distillery, and Rayburn Wines, plus live music by Pretty Weeds and more. Tickets at 971talk.com/events. Presented by Rhino Shield and U.S. Men's Medical Center.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Mark Reardon, and Annie Fry, along with Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group for the last Protecting Your Retirement educational event of the year. It's Thursday, October 2nd at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering if your 401k and IRA will last through your lifetime? Do you have your own personalized structured income plan set up? The markets are hitting all-time highs. Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your gains without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss the last event of the year.
Protect your retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisor of my show, Thomas Helbig, at the Frontenac Hilton, Thursday, October 2nd at 6:30. Go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Rooted in faith, grounded in family. This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. So, Ryan, you took a little bit of vacation, another one of your trips that you took with just one of your three children. You take these son, father-daughter trips. How did it go?
Man, it was great. It was so good. And look,
Have you done this with your daughter before?
Yeah. Actually, it was a similar trip because she loved it so much the last time that she said, oh, I really want to do that again. And when you walk around some of these theme parks, I mean, specifically Disney World, it's beautiful. I mean, some of the stuff there is like the most gorgeous settings you've ever seen. And so she has that romanticized version of it in her head. And I want to do that again. And she's 11 now. And so by the time we do this again, because it's about once every 2 years roughly that I get to do one of these with one of the kids. By the time she's 13, I just don't know if it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
I really don't.
The magic seems to shape-shift a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm sure she'll still want to do a trip at 13, but I don't know what it looks like because as 11, she was so embarrassed by some of the things, and I'm like, really, you're so outgoing, but she was very like, I don't know. Well, we got to eat in the castle, which was very hard to get. We got to eat in the castle, and so there's princesses walking around, and me and her, she wanted to dress like
Did you
Ray.
hit on any of the princesses?
No, that would have been super inappropriate.
That would have been super
They were
inappropriate.
attractive, though. I would have if I were single. I wouldn't do that because I'm married.
And talking like this.
Right, and I was with my daughter, which was weird.
Other than that.
Aside from that, it is fine.
A single man eating
I
the
saw a
princess
guy
castle.
in there in the castle hitting on him. I was like, yeah, good job, buddy.
You live your dream.
And they're required to talk to you, so it's great.
Probably not him. No, I don't think so.
But she wanted to dress like Rey from Star Wars.
Uh-huh.
She wanted to be like the rugged girl. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of different for you. She's very girly. But I'm like, okay. But so I dressed in a Star Wars costume too, just so that we were dressed similarly. It's not even my thing, but I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So we walked into the princess castle, and you get to take pictures with Cinderella right there when you walk in. And she was like, oh no, I can't do this. And I'm like, oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You know how much this costs?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I can't, because if I do, she's going to think that I'm dressed inappropriately. And I'm like, Sonny.
It'll be fine.
Everybody's
It'll be
fine with this. And she could not get over it that everything in there was themed in a way that she was not dressed appropriately for.
Oh.
But then leaving the trip, I said, what's your favorite part? And she said, the castle.
Did you do Hoop-de-Doo?
We did, and she loved that too.
I encouraged you to do this. It's the, I think, longest running dinner show in the country or something. And it's to me, the thing I like about it is it's like super old Americana. Everything about it is old Americana. And I bet you liked the endless
ribs. And I ate some chicken too, and beans. So that was fun. And actually, the waiter made fun of me. You guys will identify with this because I'm telling you the truth when I do this stuff. I'm not just doing it for radio.
Nobody thinks that.
He said, what do you want to drink? And I said, I'll have a Miller Lite and a milk.
Stop.
And he was like, wait.
So on brand.
He's like, wait. And like he thought I was joking.
What is
and I'm
wrong
like,
with you?
I'm like, I'm not kidding.
I just read an article today that says that grown people who drink milk is the first sign of them being a psychopath.
That's ridiculous. That was written by a psychopath.
Who was drinking milk
No.
while penning the article
He was
in crayon and magazine letters.
No, he's probably drinking Zima and pretending he was elite.
Did they bring you Miller Lite and milk?
Yeah, and then he's like, do you want anything else? And I'm like, well, I'll probably want another one of these, pointing to the milk. And I want a sweet tea.
Ethan, the results of today's YouTube live chat poll.
257 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. Should all combat military members have to meet the same physical standards? 91% say yes. 9% say no.
That's not terribly surprising. Big announcements, big news cycle. We're always grateful to go along this ride with you. Thank you for being with us. Happy to have Ryan back. Keep it right here. The Mark Reardon Show is next on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Rock and roll, turn up the band, find the hole, gonna lose control tonight. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Get ready, cause here they come.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's Beatlemania all over again with the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute to the Beatles. Entertainment Tonight says seeing the Fab Four is just like seeing the Beatles.
Hey Jude.
The Fab Four takes you through the 60s with the music that changed our lives. It's a show you won't want to miss.
Saturday, October 4th at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Newton.
Something tells me I'm into something good.
And the Lovin' Spoonful.
Do you believe in magic?
Saturday, October 25th at the Family Arena with the Hollies' greatest hits, starring Terry Sylvester. Get tickets now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.